All right, you guys go ahead and get started. All right. The regular council meeting for Tuesday, January 26, 2021 is called to order at 7:04 p.m. Let's have a silent meditation and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Ferrella. Vice Mayor Urban.
Present.
Mayor Nicholson.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Right now, we're going to go to approval of the agenda. Right now, if you have any additions or deletions, now's the time to say so. I personally have one deletion from the agenda. We're going to hold off on the fertilizer ordinance introduction. So we're going to hold off on H1. We're not going to have that tonight. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? No? Hearing none. All in favor of the agenda as is, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right. Moving on to approval of minutes. Did you guys get a chance to look at the minutes? They were included in the package that went out for the meeting. I went over them. I appreciate Full Moon for the transcript. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
A motion by Vice Mayor Urban. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Or do you want to table the minutes until the next meeting?
Yes, I'd like to table the minutes.
Do I have a motion to table the minutes until the next full council meeting?
Make a motion to table
The December minutes
the meetings, yeah, until
To-
next.
to the full council meeting? Do I have a second to table the minutes to the full council
That's
meeting?
fine, I'll second it.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Okay. Moving right along, visitors and special presentations. So right now, you guys, Mayor Cabillos was going to be here with us tonight, but something came up and she wasn't able to make it. But she did, have a presentation that she's been wanting to make for the Citizen of the Year. I'm going to make that in her stead. So I'm going to go down and read the proclamation for that, and then I'll invite the Citizen of the Year up who's here. Good to see her and her wonderful husband here today, and we'll go from there. All right? So let me step down real quick. Good to see everybody. So our Citizen of the Year is a wonderful individual. I'm going to read the proclamation right now in a second. Miss Elizabeth Carpenter, and I've had the pleasure of working close with her on the Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force, and she's not only very intelligent and her, intellectual astute, but she's also a nice individual. I respect her to the end of the world and back. And her being Citizen of the Year is a wonderful thing, and it's very, very well appreciated. So here we go, you guys. Whereas the Citizen of the Year Award is given in recognition to extraordinary community volunteerism in an effort to make our village, the village of El Portal in Miami-Dade County, the best place to work, play, and live. And whereas the Citizen of the Year shows commitment, support, respect, leadership, responsibility, a positive attitude, honesty, and whereas the Citizen of the Year provides a positive image for the El Portal community, promotes the general welfare of the community, and whereby the Citizen of the Year gives freely of their time and energy for community betterment. And whereas Elizabeth Fata Carpenter, born in Miami, knew from a very young age that she wanted to be an environmental advocate and save the planet. So as a young girl, she spent most of her time at the Environmental Studies Center in Stuart, Florida. the catalyst to her passion for wildlife and the environment that continues with her to this day. And whereas Elizabeth went on to attend the University of Florida from 2008 to 2012, graduated cum laude in psychology with the minors in environmental science and sustainability studies, and it's where she met her now husband, Joshua. And whereas she went then to work as a park ranger in Oregon, giving educational cave tours at Oregon Caves National Monument, and whereas she continued her passion and work at a salmon hatchery in Kodiak, Alaska, helping keep salmon populations from being overfished or diminished. And whereas thereafter, Elizabeth came back to Miami to attend the University of Miami Law School with a full scholarship through the Miami Scholars Program, which focuses on giving scholarships to students who have excellent academic credentials and also demonstrate an interest in public service, in her case, working to protect the environment. And whereas Elizabeth graduated magna cum laude and was awarded as the top 8% of her class from UM Law in 2016, where she was also the managing editor of the International and Comparative Law Review. And whereas upon graduation, she briefly worked at a large international law firm called Cozen O'Connor, but soon left to pursue her dreams of protecting the environment by joining Everglades Law Center, a local nonprofit law firm. And whereas she now works with local governments and groups to protect the environment and further sustainability initiatives to combat climate change, with particular emphasis on protecting and restoring the Everglades, which includes all of South Florida. And whereas Elizabeth and Joshua married in October 2018, and in August 2019, they purchased their first home in El Portal. And whereas they immediately fell in love with El Portal's charm and unique feel, they love our tree canopies, native environment, and the fact that we are a bird sanctuary. Elizabeth loves the small town feel with easy access to big city amenities, and they embrace our eclectic and tight-knit community where they have already formed real friendships with their neighbors. And whereas shortly after moving here, they attended the mayor's open house for new residents during the 2019 Florida City Government Week in October, and since then, Elizabeth immediately engaged in El Portal and has shown commitment, leadership, and positive attitudes. And whereas thereafter, not only was she appointed to El Portal's first resident-led Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force, but she was also appointed by her peers to be the task force chairperson. And whereas Elizabeth recently approached our village with regards to a project the Army Corps of Engineers is undertaking through Federal Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Program, and the potential impact to El Portal and her desire to represent our village's interests. And whereas it is leaders like Elizabeth who come forward to contribute, to work together, and to be part of a better future that exhibit the extraordinary qualities of the new generation of leaders. And I salute and commend her volunteerism spirit. Now, therefore, Claudia Cabillos, who is the mayor of El Portal, and the village council do hereby proclaim Elizabeth Fata Carpenter our 2020 Citizen of the Year.
Thank you all so much. I thank you to Mayor Cabillos and Mayor Nickerson, the entire Village Council, and the Village Council from last year as well. When my husband and I moved to El Portal, we moved here because we fell in love with the environment, the trees and the birds and the neighbors. But since we've lived here, we've fallen in love with the community. And I could not be more humbled and pleased to be receiving this award, and wanted to thank the entire council and Mayor Nickerson for the openness to allow citizens to participate in government. And I hope that I can continue to live up to this award in the future. So thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. You guys give us a second for a picture real quick. Thank you very much for that, you guys. We have a very special guest in the house tonight. We did her proclamation last meeting. We're going to go over some highlights of it this meeting. County Commissioner Edmondson. Come on up, County Commissioner Edmondson. So last time we were here, the former Vice Mayor Harold Mathis was also here. Your Link sister, she she made some wonderful comments about you also. We all actually pitched in and we spoke about how great you not only have been to the village of El Portal, but to the Miami-Dade County as a whole. And Attorney Geller made comments also. We were all making comments about you. And I just want to say, County Commissioner Edmondson, you're not only a legend within our community, not only a legend within our county, but you're an inspiration, I think, to all of us who get into local government. And we really respect you in every major way. And if you would say some stuff, please. Thank you very much.
And thank you. I think you all know I started here in El Portal. I lived here for 32 years and finally downsized after I was in the house all by myself. So I downsized and went on to the county. But it was a pleasure when I worked here. It was a pleasure just doing and just being honored to have been elected here as the first elected mayor by the people of El Portal. And it was an honor to me to have that privilege. So again, thank you so much. I enjoyed working with you, and I look to working with you in the future. And I'll leave that right.
If Councilperson-elect Ward would like to come up, you know, she was a mayor of El Portal before. She was the first, yes. Yes. So therefore, I know that she spoke last time about you also, County Commissioner. But since she's here, let's have her come back up.
You're going to always be commissioner. You're going to always be mayor. You're going to always be in El Portal. We miss you, Ed. We really do miss you. This was a very, very hard-working mayor, and she didn't take nothing for granted. She was very good, you all. Attorney Geller was right behind everything that she did. If it was up, it was up. If it was down, it was down. But this was really a very good mayor, and she did come after me. But that's all right. That's all right. She kept the spirit going. It was a rough village once upon a time, but Audrey did her part and went on to do better things. Congratulations, my dear sister. Congratulations.
And you know, and I was just thinking, since the last time that I sat up here on this dais, there's only one familiar face left. He has a lot of beard here, but it's Joe, and he was there for me and with me, and I do thank you.
And let me just say very quickly for the county commissioner, you guys, when you look at El Portal and you see that our police officers are stationed here, our police department, that was then Mayor Edmondson. When you look at El Portal and you see the circular rotunda in the front and those improvements that make El Portal look really nice, that was Mayor Edmondson. When you look at the fact that we vote for our mayor, she changed that. But for her, they didn't vote for the mayor like that. That was her. So, yeah, absolutely. The interior also, absolutely. So all these things that gave the residents, the bathroom, all these things that gave the residents, more civic power, she's the one that made that possible, you guys. So, us that come after her, all we can do is do our best to try to not let that legacy that she started down. And I work my heart out to make sure that that's possible. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's get a picture. And so the last thing I want to say, you guys, before we transition to our agenda, is that Mayor Cabillas was supposed to be here tonight. She was going to get a proclamation also, but unfortunately she was not able to make it. I just wanted to say that, and here's the proclamation. But I just want to say that Mayor Cabillas, she took El Portal from before. And I said this before in November when we all got put into office, when we took our oath. I said this then because on that day she was giving her goodbye speeches. And I said that, before her, El Portal was kind of like the sleepy place that was in between Miami Shores and like the city of Miami, right? But Mayor Cabillas really looked at the business aspect of what could be in El Portal, and she got a lot of things started business-wise. And so just like we were saying with County Commissioner Edmondson, former Mayor Edmondson, and with former Mayor Ward, it's just, it's interesting. I was speaking to a resident a couple of days ago, Mr. Courtney Kirk, and he was saying, and me and him always talk about politics and history and stuff like that when we speak to each other, and we were talking about history. And I was just talking about how we were talking about civilizations, and I was talking about the brain power. I think I kind of touched on this when in November, but I was talking about the brain power. I was talking about, and we were talking about how different civilizations, the reason why those civilizations, they come up and they become so powerful is because you'll get a slew of individuals to where the brain power of the citizens of that civilization or that country, it's like you hit a run where it's so much brain power at one time that transforms like a country or a nation or a civilization. I mean, you can see it. That's what happened with the United States of America. We hit that mark where it was like all the great inventions came out of the United States, right? That changed the world. Where there's electricity, all those great things that Thomas Edison and Benjamin Franklin, and can you imagine all these individuals, George Washington, and all these people were living at the same time. So when you have that much intelligence at one place at one time, that's when you start to have that type of success in a civilization, a nation that brings you up. And so when you think about, and I'm going to close like this, when you think about this, you guys, you think about Mayor Edmondson, that goes from being the mayor of El Portal to a commissioner of the county. From small El Portal. When you think about Dr. Ward being the first black mayor of El Portal, when you think about Mayor Cabillas being the first Hispanic mayor of El Portal, and the different things, and we're all so different in our characters that we all focus and we're all good at different things. And we all bring a little bit different to the village to help move it forward in a different type of way. And Mayor Cabillas was a big part of that in El Portal history, you guys. So she's not here, but this proclamation is for today. So I'll read the bottom part of it. Whereas Mayor Cabillas' passion and concern about the well-being of the residents of El Portal and the greater Miami-Dade community is evidenced through her community initiatives, her work in education, her support for the veterans, youth, and senior community, the creation of local jobs, and her commitment to help citizens create opportunities for tomorrow, today. As her vision of working together to make El Portal a beautiful place to live, where everyone matters, can now be seen throughout the village at numerous community events, and where property values in El Portal led Miami-Dade County, increasing by double digits each year for 3 straight years between 2015 and 2018. Now, therefore, I, Omar C. Nickerson, Mayor of the Village of El Portal, do hereby proclaim January 26, 2021 as Claudia V. Cabillos Day. So thank you guys, and Mayor Cabillos, thank you. And, you know, hopefully when COVID is over, the things that Mayor Cabillos started with, like the art fair and the things that you know, kind of put El Portal on the map, those community events and things like that, hopefully we can get back to that, you know. And so I really appreciate it, you guys. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight, but Mayor Cabillos, you're in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you very much. All right, people. So here we go. I wanted to say really quickly, and I'm going to bring the chief up in a second, but I wanted to talk really quickly about human trafficking. You notice that on your agenda, Human Trafficking Awareness Month is this month. It's January. And I just wanted to say before I bring the chief up that that human trafficking is something that is not only interesting in a strange way that we're still dealing with this in 2021. But I do want to say that out of all the states in the United States that have the worst cases of human trafficking, Florida is number 3. Right? So that's sad in itself, and when you're talking about forced labor, especially forced commercial sex, a lot of times to minors, it's not only very sad, but it's very upsetting. Okay? So I did want to take a moment to acknowledge that January is Human Trafficking Month, and I'm going to bring the chief up because the chief recently was at an event where human trafficking was a subject. So Chief, if you would come up to the podium and kind of say what you got from that event.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, last week I was able to, I had the honor to attend a webinar. It was on identifying and assisting human trafficking victims. And that was a wide umbrella for a variety of different topics that fell underneath. And one of them was a fascinating presentation by someone from the Christie House on commercial sexual exploitation of children. Now that you hear of human trafficking, this is one of the facets that falls underneath it. And it's very real. You mentioned we are the 3rd largest state in the nation for the human trafficking. And I think one of the passwords or the watchwords that comes through all of this is raising awareness. There's certain things to look for. And again, in all the literature, ask questions. Something doesn't seem right to you when you see someone, or it just doesn't sit right. Ask the questions. There's always a reason why something doesn't settle right with you. And I think all too often we say, there's nothing to it, you know, and you pay no mind to it. But there is a reason, and I think humans are given that God-given ability. You get where they say sometimes the hair on the back of your neck stands up a little. Just something doesn't seem right. And you'll know it when you see it. But I would suggest going to the website. Today, as a matter of fact, the county, in conjunction with the state attorney's office, they had a human trafficking educational campaign press conference. I was able to see the replay of it. It is on the Miami-Dade Police Facebook, and it's well worth the half hour. You have dignitaries making some presentations there, and along with the state attorney's office, and just things to look for and just to bring the awareness, which is so much needed for this scourge of human trafficking. So I could just say in closing, basically, they did put out a brochure too, and that you could see as well. We report human trafficking. There's a human trafficking hotline. There's a Miami-Dade State Attorney human trafficking hotline. And the fact is, if something doesn't sit right with you, report it to the police, use the hotline. Just don't let your suspicions fall by the wayside, because it's just very, very real out there, especially in Florida, where it's at epidemic proportions, surely. And again, the awareness is quite important, so it was very eye-opening. I've learned a lot, and if you get a chance, anytime, it'll run, as often as you want to see it on the, again, Miami-Dade was a Facebook page, and you can read all about it today for the presentation they did with the human trafficking. That's it.
Thank you very much. Even Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but the number for human trafficking is the 1-888-373-7888.
That is correct, and you also have the Miami-Dade State Attorney human trafficking hotline, which is 305-350-5567. And then the third option on this pamphlet is report it to your local authorities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much,
Thank
Chief.
you.
I really appreciate this,
Thank
and
you.
very important. Thank you very much, you guys. Of course.
Okay. All right, on this topic, I just want to make 3 points. One, when I first moved to Florida, I landed in the Florida Keys. Within a year, I was living in Miami, and then I've lived many lifetimes, and 3 of them have been in the Keys. But moving to Florida the first time was in the Keys. As I've had a fairly colorful life, and I've existed most of it fairly close to what people call the underground. And so I would try and explain to people in Miami as I got to Miami, and we had discussions about this as coworkers in hospitality, to be perfectly honest, because we see people come in, you got a couple at the table, or a group of people, and sometimes things really just don't make sense. But this was back in 2001, 2002, and there was a high number of young Russian ladies, for example, being brought to the Keys. It was known, and these discussions take place, right? Okay, so now we're gonna say, okay, well, this only happens to people from other countries. Well, a few years later, I read an article about a group of 4 women in Fort Lauderdale who were getting men drunk, drugged, and taking them back to their apartments where they would rob them, right? And so to show how dastardly these women were, robbing these wealthy men in Fort Lauderdale, they gave the rap sheet of one of the women. Well, one of her charges was prostitution at age 14. How do you charge a 14-year-old girl with prostitution? So I talked to my wife about this, and she's watching Law and Order, and she says, well, sometimes they have to arrest them to get them into the system where they can have help. That cannot be a solution. That cannot be a solution. So, these were local girls in Fort Lauderdale. These were not girls brought from other countries. And one of them, at least, people don't choose to grow up as adults and drug people to rob them. It's a cycle that happens usually from an earlier age, and their options in this world become dwindling, right? And so I would encourage people to take a second look at some of these crimes and understand that there's an opportunity as those crimes come in front of the courts to actually find out why is a 14-year-old girl engaged in prostitution. And you can find the people responsible. And so the other aspect of it is there's a market for this, and that needs to be addressed in this country. The Super Bowl is coming up, and the Super Bowl, for those of you who don't know, is famous for the FBI using sting operations and local law enforcement as well, because they import women wherever the Super Bowl is occurring by the hundreds. Okay, this is through strip clubs, this is through after parties, all of these activities. So you'll hear about this in the next couple of weeks, most likely, because it's thankfully at least a news story in the past few years regarding the Super Bowl and its prevalence for sex trafficking activity surrounding it. And I was going to make a third point, but I think I made 3 points, and I won't go too much further, but I do think that we can do more as a society to acknowledge what's happening to young people when it's happening to them, and address honestly the issue of the market. There should not be a market for this, so I'll just say that.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urban. We really appreciate it. And so, yes, you guys, just to wrap it up, is really important. And Vice Mayor Urban, to your point about the Super Bowl, Hillsbury in Tampa, Hillsbury County deputies arrest, this is from January 11th, arrest 71 for human trafficking ahead of the Tampa Super Bowl. There you go. Took me that long to look it up. As soon as you said that, I looked it up. And there you go, for the Super Bowl. So it's right there. All right, you guys. Thank you very much. And like we said, very important. And there you go. There's a real-time information from the Tampa Super Bowl. 71 arrested for human trafficking already. All right, you guys. Next is good and welfare. This is the part right here where anybody from the audience, if you have anything to say about anything on the agenda itself, there will be another good and welfare at the very end, the first good and welfare. If you have anything you want to say about anything on the agenda itself, you can come up right now and do so. That's the first good and welfare. Mr. Serbia, you'll be next. I know you're getting prepared. I'm seeing none there. How are we looking on Zoom? We're good? Okay. So we're moving right along, you guys. Next is Vice Mayor Urban. I believe this is your agenda item, if you want to go ahead and introduce it.
Yes, so you see it on the agenda as Business Corridor Street and Road Resilience, presentation by Plus Serbia. I had reached out to Juan and Camila, I think a month ago or something, and we were talking about different aspects of, I think, issues with swale and things to this degree. So Juan let me know that they actually had been working on and have somewhat of a composed plan for what we call resilient streets. So my wife is probably going to, tell me I shouldn't have said this, but in terms of Nextdoor, all right, I encourage anyone who's engaging in Nextdoor and saying that they want to see changes to please, I'm begging you, come to the council meetings, come to the committee meetings. So in terms of traffic calming, what we have from Plus Serbia is the beginning of a comprehensive street plan. It takes a little bit of imagination, a little bit of faith, but also there's quite a bit of science behind this. And so I will let Juan explain everything, but just so you understand, this is an all-encompassing idea. So it involves traffic calming design. It involves beautification design. It involves flood mitigation design. It involves all of those things all in one. And so I asked him to just come and do a short presentation, and hopefully, my hope is that the council would agree to bring this up in discussion in planning and zoning. If the plan that he's about to outline would be enacted, it will be probably a few years from now. So this is not something that is a surprise. This is not something that we're going to be voting on to change everything next month. And so I think that it's something that the residents should be excited about, will be excited about, and I know I am. So without further ado.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Is this on? Okay, can you all hear me? Thank you. I have two layers, so if you can't hear me, it's normal. So as you said, we discussed this about a month ago, but with the previous administration, we had also looked at it, in part because it's an issue that there's a lot of issues in the village that could be resolved if we just looked at our infrastructure in a way that it's a little bit outside of the box. It's not just about moving cars, it's not just about planting trees, it's about what solutions can our infrastructure provide for us. So as you can see here, we're sharing screen, Camila's sharing screen. That's the village, and we have several different, that's good. So you have several different zones. You have the school, you have the residential zone, you've got the two main avenues, which are North Miami and 2nd Avenue. You also have, obviously, the FEC, the rail line, that makes another separation, and then you have the higher density to the east of the FEC. Can you hit next? So I'm going to tell you a couple of things that you all already know, but I'm telling you because we need to start looking at these in a different way. When you look at North Miami and you look at Second Avenue and you look at the FEC, we see thresholds, we see barriers, we see potential for mixed use and a place to have a cup of coffee. We also see a lot of traffic, we see a lot of accidents, we see a lot of potential also for walking, but not many people do. I don't know how many in the audience actually walk Second Avenue or North Miami that often, but if you hit next, you'll notice that we've outlined them and we've realized that the village is different zones. And I'm not talking about zoning and regulation, I'm talking about different pockets that don't mix together. And in part, again, it's because we have no ability to actually comfortably and safely cross from one pod, I'll call it a pod, to another. And go to the next slide. So what are the issues that I'm talking about? So as most residents have noticed, we have a flooding problem. And this is a problem that is worldwide, of course, but it's extremely prevalent here in South Florida, and also in coastal areas such as El Portal. And, the river is considered a waterfront that creates this kind of flooding. In addition to the fact that our elevation is quite low, we are between, I believe it's between 5 and 15. So in some areas, we are very, very prone to water coming from below, and in other areas, we're very prone to have water coming from the actual river. In addition to that, you'll see in the three slides, in the three images in the middle, on the one on the left, you can't see it very well, but there's a sidewalk that actually gets right up to almost the corner and then it doesn't go through. In the center image, you'll see a sidewalk on North Miami Avenue. I don't have to tell you how one would feel, and I would encourage all of you to look at it the next time that you either drive by. I don't encourage anybody to walk on it, but it is really dangerous and it feels really uncomfortable if you're a pedestrian, but you can only imagine how you would feel if you are on a wheelchair or on a bicycle. So Second Avenue and North Miami are very dangerous, and they are not promoting the type of economic development that we could see that could also have a positive impact into our village. And then finally at the bottom, I added a few others, and there's some goods and bads to them. There's, as you can see, very good tree canopy, and that's something that's enviable. As we heard one of the presentations, somebody was saying that they moved here because of it, and the bird sanctuary. That's something that we can encourage, and we can actually see how the street sections could actually have more room for it, more room for vegetation, more room for walking, more room for biking. And then the one on the bottom right, you also see how that sidewalk, interestingly, goes all the way around a corner but doesn't cross. And that's one of those residential streets that should actually cross, right? But you have to walk on the grass and on the swale. So there's a little bit of lack of oversight as to how these things were put together. They were put together at different times. We've been looking at the maps from the past, and again, there's places that could be connected better. It might just take a little bit of concrete to just connect that sidewalk down there. Other places that are a much bigger project, like coordinating with the county and making sure that Second Avenue is, and is, deservedly provides a better way to encourage development, encourage economic development, and also provides safer and more accessible mobility for pedestrians and bikes. Go to the next slide. So we have not done any design, in part because we have not been directed by the council to do so. We have made a lot of outreach attempts with the manager to the county, especially for those streets that are county. We feel that one of our priorities as a village should be the improvement of Second Avenue. Without improving Second Avenue, we will not get development on Second Avenue. We don't get development on Second Avenue, our village revenues and our taxes and our, et cetera, won't come. In addition to the fact that you won't be providing the residents a place to go for their daily needs, whether it's a corner store or a coffee shop or a nail salon, whatever it is. We have the zoning in place, we just don't have the infrastructure in place. And that is something that needs to be done in collaboration with the county and probably in collaboration with the state to see if we can find a way to fund this. The image that you see here, though, it's a residential street. And what I want you to note here is that the width of the road as it pinches is very similar to ours. We have between 15 and 20 foot asphalt in our residential streets, and which is neither wide enough for a two-laner or narrow enough for a one-laner. So we're somewhere in between. So from a traffic perspective, hit next, Cami, we could start re-envisioning how the streets, Camila, can you hit next? We could start re-envisioning how these streets start working for us for mobility purposes. The slide before actually showed a bioswale or a rain garden, which could also allow for quicker drainage during flood events. This one you see better mobility. Go ahead, next. Or accessibility and making sure that those sidewalks, obviously I don't think that we're going to get to a image like this. We're in El Portal, not a city center, but it makes the point of wheelchair accessibility and making sure that the surfaces are comfortable and safe and accessible for all. Hit next. And then finally, this one is an image that we found online, which is very similar to our Second Avenue with the 2 and 3 story buildings on either side with a calm, pedestrian, comfortable, parallel parking, lots of trees, places for bioswales, Second Avenue, and potentially in the future, if we feel the need for it, North Miami Avenue. Go to the next slide, and I think this is my final slide. I'd like you to note a few things on this slide. The most important, I guess, it's the very quick very quick look that we took at the street network. There is really not much reason to have a two-way street within the residential areas. Why is that? Two-way streets typically are a benefit when you have commercial or mixed use. Why? Because you get double the headlights going past commercial properties, and so you have potentially more patrons going by your place of business. In the case of residential, one way would not make much of a difference for a resident who wants to get to a place. It might take an extra 10 seconds to get to where you're going just because the direction of your street is one way instead of two. The other advantage of it is that we can then reduce the asphalt and therefore improving our drainage and potentially increasing the size of our swales. That would allow for more vegetation and again for better drainage and potentially for some either bioswales that would create a bowl-like destination for the water. And if I may, also room for other types of mobility like bicycles and wider sidewalks. The other two that you'll see there obviously is the North Miami Avenue and Second Avenue. Those potentially would be that kind of main street that we discussed. And then obviously you'll have to, we were looking at how the mobility would work on the east-west condition. On 87th Street, we would also keep the two-way so that we can access Horace Mann and the village hall and the crossing of the FEC. So don't hold this map or this diagram, really, it's not even a map, this diagram to heart. We've done this really quickly, but we have looked at the potential that this village has to reduce the impact of cars, to improve drainage, and to reduce and increase safety through the reduction of the actual asphalt. It's something that we would like to study more. We believe that the first step, as I said, is contacting the county in a little bit more I guess with better direction from the from the village council, making sure that we do get a response and that we know what the next steps are moving forward. Up until now, it's been just, you know, an array of emails, and we've the village manager can probably agree to this. We send a few emails, we get a couple of responses, and things die off because the county is very large and they have a lot of things going on. At the same time, I'm encouraged to see that the Shores has a different right of way on 2nd Avenue, which is much nicer, and the city of Miami has just improved theirs. So really, we're the only municipality with a landing strip going through our village. And I think that can be resolved. And the east-west connectivity for pedestrians and bicycles improved. And that's what we have. I hope that you weren't expecting much more. But we didn't want to put much time into this unless you guys feel that it's important as a 2021 goal and objective. Also, by the way, part of our comprehensive plan. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Well, so I'd like to just offer a couple of things, and then correct me if I'm on the wrong path here. But one of the largest priorities right now for residents, I believe, is traffic calming. And so, just as you were saying, a lot of residents do not feel safe to be able to just go for a walk, cross 87th Street, cross Northeast 2nd, cross Miami Avenue. And so, I know that we've hit a lot of roadblocks with the county in the past, right? And so I'm not sure if any of you know who Felipe Azaña, I'm going to butcher his name, but Azaña. So he has been petitioning the state of Florida, or the county, the state, anyone who will listen, to lower the speed limit and change the design of Biscayne Boulevard because of the number of high-speed, violent collisions from automobiles into buildings, into walkways, destroying crosswalk mechanisms, injuring pedestrians, all of it, right? So he has been emailing absolutely everybody for years, trying to get someone to pay attention to the design of Biscayne Boulevard because, I mean, I drive, you know, for years, I think I said last time, I'm a confessed aggressive driver, okay? So now that I confessed that last time and you guys have all agreed that I shouldn't be an aggressive driver, that's great. What are we going to do about the other hundreds of thousands of people who are aggressive drivers that did not have the heart-to-heart with you that I just had, right? So, so that has to be addressed. You know, since he's been emailing, I have been much more conscious as I'm driving on Biscayne Boulevard, and I realized, you know, one of my phrases is you drive the road. That's what you do. You drive the road. If the road permits, then you go ahead. And so Biscayne Boulevard permits 55, 60, 65 miles an hour easily. You get frustrated when people are doing 35 and you're like, why are you in first gear? Let's go, you know? But that road should not be that slick to be able to hit 0 to 70 off of a traffic light. But it is. And so we can't do anything about that here in El Portal, right? We don't control the county. So in this plan, what I see is an opportunity, just as he's saying, is instead of trying to fight nature and say, well, how do we widen? Because a lot of the streets in El Portal need widening, right? If we're going to do 2 lanes. A lot of streets in El Portal cannot accommodate 2 full lanes. They need widening, right? But just as Juan was saying, a lot of the streets also, you know, are wider than a one-way. So if we would enact a plan in El Portal to make most of the residential streets one way, I believe that we could reduce our speed limit posted, because we don't post the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit in residential, right? But 30 miles an hour is the speed limit in residential. That's outrageously fast because the rule is 9 over. So if you post 30 throughout the neighborhood, people will go 39 very comfortably and think it's okay because 9 over is the rule. And I will argue with anybody who thinks that it's not. 9 over is the rule, I promise you. Everyone feels comfortable doing 9 over. They know they're not going to get pulled over. They know it's within the realm of correction, right? So I would think that with a one-way plan, we would be able to post with, honestly, kind of like beautiful signage almost, a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now, that's still gonna get you people driving 24, 25 miles an hour, but it's a lot better than the 0 to 50 between stop signs that we see every day, right? And so, my hope is that if we can take this seriously in planning and zoning, that we would end up with a street plan that would be the envy of almost every municipality in Miami-Dade County, because it allows us, as Juan is saying, we gain all of this square footage by the hundreds of square feet of space that we can turn into a bioswale that accommodates flooding, a path for pedestrians, for bicyclists, and for wheelchair. And so I think that it's a phenomenally good design, and I would love to see us discuss this in planning and zoning and move forward with it. So am I on the right track here, Juan, with those kind of key points of the goals of the plan?
I think you're dead on. Again, this is not a plan. This is just a thought.
Right.
And the only thing that I will add is that the safest streets are those that you don't have to post the speed sign on.
Right.
That
Well,
they feel,
okay.
That they
So
feel narrow enough to
this is why I was
slow
thinking
down.
of posting the speed limit, though, because then we can go to the county and say, you've got the speed limit out here set at this, when all of the speed limits in our community are posted 15. And I think that would give us some teeth with the county to help them realize that the design and the speed limit on East Second and Miami should be adjusted. In my fantasies, speed limits don't get posted in miles per hour anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous. Nobody even spends an hour in their car between destinations. All speed limits should be posted in feet per second, and then I think people would start to really think about how fast they're going. So,
Thank you, Vice Mayor Irvine. Councilperson Perrella? You good? Anything from the audience? Come on. Full Moon, do you guys still have that one connected? Or, because I remember when we were, do you have to go, okay, just go. Yeah, Juan, if you could just step away a little bit. Or you could, Juan, if you could just step to the side. No, you're good, you're good.
Hi,
Come on,
Elizabeth
come
Patal Carpenter, 237 Northeast 86th Street. I just wanted to speak in favor of this idea as well. I know that it is a thought and not yet a plan, but in addition to the walkability, which I think is incredibly important, I am someone who walks Northeast 2nd Avenue, and you kind of hug away from the traffic because it is unpleasant and slightly frustrating. But in addition to the walkability and the obvious safety implications of traffic, I just wanted to speak in favor of the resiliency measures that this involves. We've been working with Miami-Dade County, the task force has been working with Miami-Dade County about different options for preventing flooding, but also using the efforts that are implemented to prevent flooding to also increase walkability, especially as it relates to permeable surfaces. And I just wanted to, let the Village Council know that that effort is ongoing. And bioswales, as you've mentioned, greenways and blueways are all one of one of 5 solutions that the county has proposed. And this would fit very well within the county's plan to address some of those issues in El Portal. So I just wanted to speak in favor of that aspect of it as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Carpenter. I appreciate it. Chairperson Carpenter has sent out, she's always on top of things as the chairperson of the Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force, and she constantly, I think it was Monday, she sent out an email that showed webinars that are coming up. And so I sent that out, I think, to the task force, and I think that you guys will probably have it also. But we really appreciate that, Chairperson Carpenter. Anybody else from the audience? Any questions about what we just discussed? Anybody on Zoom? How are we looking on Zoom? We're good. All right, you guys, before we move on to the next agenda item, I do want to say this really quickly. I want to picture, Mr. Carpenter was not in any pictures when his wife is the Citizen of the Year. And I think that's horrible. He has a suit on. He's looking dapper. He's looking great. So really quickly, you guys, bear with us real quick. Let's get a picture with Mr. Carpenter in it. With their phone. Maybe somebody from Full Moon can help us out really quickly and just take a picture with their phone so we can do that, because we can't have that Citizen of the Year and her husband's not in it. We got to have him in it. Okay. All right, you guys, so we move on to the next agenda item, which is the variance, site plan approval with the approval of variance, possible approval of variance. Decrease the minimum 15 feet secondary front setback to side street to the 10 feet for the proposed rear addition plus other conditions as per the staff report. So we can go right into, Juan, the staff report, and we can start there, I think. This was from a planning and zoning meeting that took place earlier, you guys, committee meeting.
Certainly. Could I request Camila to share her screen again for the application to be up for, we have to refer to an image, maybe the public might want to see what we're talking about. In the meantime, I'll read this out. This is a site plan approval and request for variance for a addition to an existing house. It needs to go through site plan approval because it's more than 50% of the existing building, pursuant of section 17-57 of the Code of Ordinances. This application requires council approval within the Zone 3, Z3 suburban residence. The application, we've been working with the applicant for a little bit. The application has changed and gotten closer to the code to the point that it complies with everything other than the variance that is being requested, which is 10 foot to the east setback, which is a secondary frontage that Camila is pointing at right now. There you go. Thank you, Camila. It's that side, what you see on the left of your screen, is the way that this corner lot is fronting the street. And so the requirement of 15 feet cannot be achieved, and the applicant is requesting that variance. I'd like to make a note, because I understand that variances are not something that the council takes lightly. The rest of the existing building is at 10 feet, as is the building behind it, the one next to it. This is the side of one of the blocks, so there's only two buildings fronting this street on this side, which would make the extra 5 feet, honestly, an oddity. It would look odd. When you're standing on the street itself, you don't see that much of a difference. And Camila, I'm not sure if you have a street view of this. I'd rather show that for the residents as well, so that they see the actual existing conditions. In the meantime, while she's showing you the frontage, you'll note that in darker color, that those are the two additions to the building. You have to the bottom right, closer to the interior setback, a two-story addition to the existing building. Right, and you see here, that's the side of the building, right? And you see the distance between the right-of-way, or the pavement rather, to the actual building face is deep enough that that extra five foot is hardly noticeable. You'll notice also the garage that Cami's pointing at right now. There, thank you. And the addition will be behind that garage, between that building, that two-story building, which is the neighbor's property. So essentially, planning and zoning recommends approval with conditions, which I will read to you right now. We recommend approval with conditions pursuant of Section 1753 requirements and procedures for site plan review. A, the applicant shows good cause for compliance with the land use regulations and the development standards of this chapter and Chapter 24. The conditions are as follows. Either approval is obtained by variance, which is the request of this application, for a 10-foot side setback, for the addition of the proposed rear elevation, moving it to a 10-foot setback, 5 foot less to the east, complying with a 15-foot side setback. The application supporting documentation construction of the proposed project shall be in conformance with the applicant's submittal package dated 11/09/2020 and subsequent revisions. All representations proffered by the applicant as part of the review of the application at public hearings, and all comments made by staff reviewers and submitted to the applicant to be addressed prior to the building permit. Those are the conditions that we have in our staff report, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
The,
Again, you should call the public hearing to order after.
yeah, yeah, no problem. The third driveway was definitely taken away?
The third driveway
noticing.
was taken away. Yes.
Okay.
Not in the renderings, but we never go by renderings, we go by plans. Those are the ones that regulate the application. The renderings are just for,
Okay.
for visual purposes.
Vice Mayor Irvine?
No, I don't think I have anything new to add on this. I'm certainly glad that the only remaining issue is that this variance, and that everything else is able to be brought up to code. I was fairly impressed with the architect's answers at the last meeting, and so I don't think I have anything new to ask on this.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Councilperson Perrella? You're good? Anybody from the audience have any questions or comments? Yeah, closing, open up for public hearing. Anybody from the audience have any questions or comments? Hearing none. Anybody on Zoom? How are we looking on Zoom? Okay, no problem. No hand? We're good? All right, and like we said before, you guys, close the public hearing. Like we said before, you guys, this was spoke about in length at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, and that's why it was brought back here to the full council meeting. Juan, go ahead.
I have one more thing to add, and I just want to make sure that I say it, because we went through a lot of trouble to put together those design guidelines. So I have to say that this building does, this application does meet those guidelines quite well. It fits within the context. It fits with the existing architecture. The openings are consistent with what exists there, so it's not something that stands out as an oddity to the neighborhood. So I'd like to say that this is a good application in that respect. I question whether or not they should have that rolling door for that garage that is not a garage anymore, because it has no, but I'll leave that to the applicant. Again, it's not a negative to the design. It's just a use, what would you use that for? But it's neither here or there. It meets perfectly well with the standards, both zoning and the design guidelines.
Thank you, Juan. The applicant is here, so if you would want to come up very, very quickly, just so we can see your face, and then I'll ask if anybody has any questions or comments for him. Say your name and address for the record, please.
Gustavo Gonzalez, 101 Northeast 87th Street.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate you going back and correcting the things that we brought up at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. Let's go and see, does anybody out here have any questions for the, one second, Attorney Geller. Anybody out here have any questions for the owner? Questions or comments for the owner itself? Attorney Geller, the floor is yours. Attorney Geller.
And just, sir, we just want for the record, for you to state that you do accept the conditions that were outlined by Serbia for the record.
I do, I accept.
Thank you for accepting those. Seeing none out there, how are we looking on Zoom? All right. So we're back here, and there's no questions or comments for you. Thank you again for for complying to the things that we spoke about last time. We appreciate it.
Mayor, for the record, then, you want to take a roll call vote on approval of, on granting the variance and approval of the site plan, one vote.
Yeah, absolutely. One vote for both things, but I did write both things. Thank you very much, Attorney Gill. I did write both things
Thank you.
out so that everybody understood when they looked at the agenda that both things that would be coming up. Juan, any closing remarks before I go for the vote? You
Just
good?
to add with conditions.
With conditions, yes.
Approved with conditions which were accepted on the record. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. We're good up here, everybody else? All right, Madam Clerk, can I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Pereira,
Yes.
No, hold on. Can I have a motion to approve?
There we go.
Can I have a motion to approve?
All
The
right,
site plan approval with the approval of the variance also with conditions.
I'll take a shot at it. So I'll make a motion to approve the site plan with conditions.
Have a motion by Vice Mayor Urban. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Pereira. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please? Thank you.
Councilperson Pereira,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urban,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, thank you very much. You guys, congratulations.
Congratulations,
And
yeah.
welcome to the community. We appreciate it. Special election update, the next one, H4. So with this one, all I want to say, and Madam Clerk, I'll bring you in, all I want to say is, congratulations to Councilperson-elect Ward, Councilperson-elect Martin, and Madam Clerk, go ahead if you just want to explain what
Okay.
happened.
On January 15th at noon, qualifying closed for the special election for the village of El Portal for the two council seats, seat 2 and 3. We had 3 persons who qualified pending certification of petitions from Miami-Dade County. At the end of certifying of petitions, we had 2 persons who qualified, and that would be Council-elect Lightfoot, Dr. Lightfoot Ward for seat number 2, and Ms. Darian Martin for seat number 3.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate that. You guys, we will be having them take their oath at the next council meeting, which is the February council meeting, which is the 4th Tuesday in February. I believe that's February 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody want to look at it? Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Vice Mayor. February 23rd, we'll have them sworn in, you guys, because the election would have been February, 15th? And therefore, we're going to have the first council meeting after the election, what the election would have been is February 23rd. The same way with us, our election would have been, in the beginning of November, and we got sworn in November council meeting. So that's how we're going to do it. We do have Councilperson-elect Ward here. Good to see you, Councilperson-elect Ward. Attorney Geller, the floor is yours.
Just very quickly, Mayor, besides adding my congratulations to Councilperson-elects Dr. Lightfoot Ward and Ms. Martin, I just want to say for the record, especially considering some of the other items, I want to note what a really great job our interim clerk, Pam Lattimore, did on all of these election procedures. This ran extremely smoothly. There were no questions. There were no issues. Obviously, there was somebody disappointed that they came up a couple short in terms of certified signatures, but, that happens. But I really just want the record to note that our interim clerk did an outstanding job on conducting this entire process and getting us through it in an efficient manner, so the council will be back at full strength.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. Appreciate that. And thank you very much, Madam Clerk Lattimore. We appreciate
It
you.
looks easier on the outside, but on the inside, it was.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Do I have anybody from the audience that has any questions or comments about the special election update? There will be no special election. That's the update. No, seeing none, how am I looking on Zoom? We're good on Zoom. All right, you guys, let's go to the next agenda item. You guys are good up here? Oh, go ahead, Vice Mayor. I'm sorry about that.
I think you need to just close the public, yeah, sorry. Just for posterity, the special election would have been held February 16th. That's it, that's all that.
All right, we're going to have February 16th. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor, I appreciate it. Councilperson Pereira, you good? All right. So you guys, we're going to go on to the next thing. So this is pretty simple, the Policies and Procedures Manual. Madam Manager has a mic now. She doesn't have to run up to the podium. Good to see you over there, Madam Manager.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is something, you guys, that was brought, it was passed through the Administration and Finance Committee a while ago. I brought it back through the Administration and Finance Committee just to like kind of update you guys that it was passed a while ago. and it needs to be passed through full council. I don't know why it never was before. Councilperson Perrella brought up some concerns about it, and the manager, I believe, made those changes that Councilperson Perrella brought
Yes, I
up.
did.
And she resubmitted a new version with those changes. Vice Mayor Urbom, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not.
Councilperson Perrella, you have any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Anybody from the audience, questions or comments about policies and procedures manual? How are we looking on Zoom, policies and procedures manual? No, we're good? All right, you guys, can I have a motion to pass the personnel policies and procedures manual?
I'll make a motion to pass the personal policies and procedures.
Thank you very much. Motion made by Councilperson Perrella. May I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Second by Vice Mayor Urbom. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call for that, please?
Councilperson Perrella,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irwin,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
The next item, you guys, is the 2021 El Portal Government Calendar. I tried to make a pretty calendar for you guys. We've never had it like that ever before. That's the first time we've ever had like a real calendar with the colors. I tried to color coordinate and stuff for you guys. So hopefully you guys like that. This is just pretty simple, a formality, just showing our government events over the calendar. I did add one thing to it. I think earlier today, I was kind of like looking through everything, just getting prepared. Last minute preparation. I was like, I was like the state of the village. So I'll send that to the clerk or the manager, and they'll send that out to you guys. The state of the village is going to be the 4th Tuesday in August. You guys know August, usually we don't have, August is vacation for government. So we usually do the state of the village the 4th Tuesday in August because we don't have a meeting. So it'll be the 4th Tuesday in August. State of the village we have to do by charter. Or the mayor has to do it, so it'll be the 4th Tuesday in August at 7 o'clock, the same time it would have been a normal council meeting. All right, and I put that in orange on the updated calendar. That's the only difference, change to it, but it's all good. Vice Mayor Urbom.
And then once we have the public affairs meeting in March, I believe we'll have a number of things to add to this calendar.
Absolutely, it's a working calendar. I was thinking about you as I was doing it when I was putting it together, Vice Mayor Urbom, because I was like, Arbor Day and stuff, and all the different stuff. Once we get the Little River cleanup, once we get all those dates, we can just start putting it on there. And I'm gonna, because if you look at other municipalities, they have like a calendar type of setup, like on their website. And so I'm gonna speak to Ms. Gerber. As you guys see with the emails, I'm always involved with, putting everything on the website that I possibly can. And so we'll get a real calendar on the website, hopefully, so when you click it, then that actual calendar that you guys see that I made up, that comes on. So we'll just add stuff to it and things like that and continue to have it on the website. That would be great. Councilperson Perrella, you good? Anybody from the audience, any questions or comments about the 2021 governmental calendar? We good? How are we looking on Zoom? We're good? All right, you guys. You're good, Attorney Geller? Okay. All right. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the 2021 El Portal government calendar.
I will make a motion to approve the 2021 El Portal government calendar.
Thank you very much. Motion made by Vice Mayor Urbom. Do I have a second to approve the 2021 El Portal government calendar?
Yes. I'll approve the motion.
Yes, thank you very much. I got a second by Councilperson Perrella.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call for the 2021 El Portal?
Councilperson Perrella,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irwin,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Thank you very much. As far as the next item, you guys, is the mid-year budget review date. So you guys know we're coming up on the mid-year budget review. It could be, and Madam Manager, if you want to chime in, we can do it on the same day as the council meeting if we want to, but you guys understand, if we're going through the mid-year budget review, we're going through the budget. So you might want to make it on a separate date,
Yes.
okay? Being that's the case, pull up the calendar real quick.
And I would like to just make a recommendation of
Yes.
maybe doing a weekend.
Like a
Maybe
Saturday
a Saturday morning, that way.
We've had that in the past, yeah.
Yes. And perhaps that would be a good opportunity for all the departments to come and kind of, then recommendations come in, we go through them, and the community can weigh in if necessary, or at least ask questions about where we stand.
And we're talking March, right?
So you're saying March, yeah.
So just keep in mind that March 20th is the Little River cleanup.
Okay, it's March 20th.
I believe it's a tentative date, but I believe it's written in ink. I mean, if that makes any sense, but that's, unless there's other unforeseen
Right.
obstacles, that is the date that they chose.
Mhm.
So I would recommend either the 6th or the 13th.
Right.
I'm good with either one of those dates. I'm looking right now at the calendar. Councilperson Perella, how are your Saturdays scheduled? What, are they bad for you?
Yeah, but, no, 13 should be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, the other thing I
Sure.
was looking at is that the deadline for FEMA's response to us
Mhm.
is the 12th.
Yeah.
So I would also say the 13th is ideal because we should have all of our pieces by the 13th.
But remember, even though that's the
Yes, but,
response, we
yes.
wouldn't have time to really,
this is true,
yeah.
but.
But we would know, though.
Right,
I understand what
yes,
you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, if you guys want to do a Saturday morning, which is good because then you have residents that, that may be able to attend, that you can roll out of bed and start to attend and join us on a Saturday morning. I mean, only other, if we wanted to keep it during the week, it would have to be like the 16th or something like that, but you're talking about like all 4 Tuesdays in a row that month, which might be a little bit too much because we have committee meetings and the full council meeting. So 13th, everybody? Yeah? We good? Anybody from the audience have any questions or comments about the mid-year budget review, or we'll go over the budget, the mid-year budget review? We're thinking about March 13th, Saturday, March 13th. Any questions or comments about that in the audience? Seeing none. Zoom, we're good? Thumbs up on Zoom? All right, Madam, we don't need a roll call for that. So we're good. 13th, March 13th? All right.
Would you
Not
like,
10 o'clock a.m.?
you could do 9 to
10?
11 or
I
10
think
to 12?
10 to 12?
I think 10, yeah.
10 to 12?
Yeah.
10 to 12, you guys. All right, and I will add that to the calendar before I send it out to the manager or the clerk. All right, good. Just close that up real quick. Next item, you guys, is the police chief evaluation and possible pay adjustment. So I looked over the evaluation. I've said it before, I'm not gonna go too deep into it. The chief is always there for whatever we need. He's there for me at all times of the day or night, keeps me updated on everything at all times. Madam Manager, the chief has been working for us for how long?
I think it's been about 19 months now.
About 19
It'll
months?
be, at the end of May, will be his 2-year anniversary.
Okay, and it may be his 2-year anniversary.
Mhm.
Madam Manager, if you just want to open up, like, the evaluation process you went through with the chief. Chief, I don't know, you might want to come to the podium just in case we have
Well-
any questions or comments we might want to ask.
You know, I don't know that we need to get so detailed about the evaluation, because as you all know, he's done a yeoman's job with the
Yeah.
department, changed the culture of the department, really brought a sense of security and safety to the village itself and to the administration. And I know that you all have appreciated his efforts as our chief. So, he got very good marks, as you see, and he was able to do so much in this past 18 months that he's been with us, that he was evaluated on. And a lot of what that was curing some past ills. So now that things are in a great place, he's able to kind of focus on innovations. And we talked about some of those things in that evaluation in our meeting. So I'm looking forward to more time with Chief Magnuson and to see what he can really do with the proper resources, and we're working on those things together. I recommend the 5% increase to salary. I wish it could be more, but as you all know, we have to be conservative and do what's proper, and so that is my recommendation, and I hope you support that.
And Madam Manager, 5% would be what type of monetary increase to the chief's salary?
Okay, so the 5% increase would take Chief Magnuson's salary to $78,750 annually. That's he makes $75,000 now, so it's $3,750 increase.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. Vice Mayor Irvine.
I would just say that going through the evaluation, that it seemed that the one low score was in a category that, in my opinion, was largely out of the chief's control.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so I would just echo the manager's words and in praise of Chief Magnuson and sincere gratitude for just a phenomenal job that he's been doing for the Village of El Portal.
Thank you very much. Councilperson Perrella, you good? Yep. Okay, anybody from the audience have any questions or comments about the police chief evaluation, you guys? Well, that's what I was gonna bring him to the podium for, but to thank him and give him a hand. I appreciate that, Councilperson-elect Ward. Anybody from Zoom? How are we looking? Zoom, thumbs up, full moon? All right, you guys. So, do I have a motion to approve the police pay adjustment? Do we need a motion for that? We don't need a motion for that, you guys, because that we don't vote on that. We don't vote on that. The manager's just letting us know what's going on.
And I
That's
just asked that you support.
Yeah,
I
we
wanted you to
support.
know and be aware, but.
Yeah, so we'll show our support. We'll do it all in favor aye, it won't be a roll call. Do I have a motion to support the police chief evaluation and pay adjustment?
I'll certainly make that motion.
We made that motion by Vice Mayor Erbaum. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Perrella. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, you have our full support, Madam Manager. Great job, Chief, we appreciate it. All right, you guys, the next thing is the Cavista fee adjustment and public benefits. So we brought this up last time at the Administration and Finance Committee, and we said that we were going to do it in staggered terms and things like that. Okay, so let me just say this. So I didn't do an ordinance, and I'm going to have Attorney Geller jump in a second. I didn't do an ordinance, you guys. We're starting more in a slower path, so it's just not thrown out there or whatever. So I decided that I wanted to, if you guys support it, to start off with a directive, or to instruct the attorney and Placerbia to just, make sure everything is good with the development agreement, and make sure, that, with us doing this, it doesn't affect any other part of the development agreement. And to give the individuals, the residents, more time to, just know, what we have planned, and to, do everything, in transparency as we were doing it. But that's the only reason why I slowed it down from doing the first reading of the ordinance now, and I wanted to wait till the new members were also set, because, they'll be part of the council also. Attorney Geller?
Thank you, Mayor. So there really are two things. It's probably two different ordinances. We have currently a public benefit section of the Code of Ordinances, and it was prepared, as is most of our form-based code, by Placerbia under Juan's direction. And there's a part of it that was adopted, and then subsequently, well, really simultaneously, it was amended to provide for the receipt of these fees. Separately, there is a development agreement with Cavista, their operating group, LLC, that calls for the payment of these. I think both need to be amended. I think we need to amend the code section to permit us to receive the fees for a purpose other than what's stated in the code, and we need to amend the development agreement, which is adopted by ordinance, and note that that requires the other party to the development agreement also to go along with it, the Cavista LLC. So it is frankly a very detailed and very thorough piece of work that Placerbia has given us, and it deals with the floor ratio, and it's a square foot by square foot. There's a ratio to accept it, and to use the funds for another purpose, we want to be absolutely certain that we're allowing more flexibility in the use. The council has given some general direction as to how much we're talking about. We want to be certain also that we don't do anything that's going to take them off the hook from having to pay the same amount. We're not looking to increase the amount at all, but we are looking to broaden the purposes for which it can be used. So this motion it's not a resolution, it simply directs me and our village planners to work together to come back to you with an ordinance, or really, I think it's 2 ordinances, for first and second reading, to accomplish what the Administration and Finance Committee voted to have done.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. I really appreciate that. So you guys know how in the past, this is the reason why this kind of like happened, because you guys know how in the past, things can get started, and then things that and this is something that we really need, because we really need this with the police department and stuff. So, things can get started and then kind of fall to the wayside. So this is kind of like officially gets the process started. This officially, I don't know if you guys looked at it, but it tells Serbia, it tells Attorney Geller, you guys get together, start to go through this, start to, set the language up to get this done the right way, start to write the ordinances. So this officially starts to get the project started so that it just doesn't fall to the wayside. And then 6 months from now, we're like, oh man, we should have really jumped on that. And then we're really in like bad shape. So I just wanted to, pass this as a council to instruct and direct them to get the work started so that, so that there's no gray area about it. Start going through the material, start to get this started. So that we, will be in better shape down the line. So that's basically what this is about, you guys. All right. Vice Mayor Urban.
Mike, I think I have a question for Attorney Geller. Has there been, regarding this, has there been any discussion whatsoever with the Cavista LLC?
I actually had a fairly extensive conversation with their attorney end of last week. It was mostly focused on the fact that we are, and I was going to mention this in my report, we are also moving forward on the revisions to the building fee ordinance as to far as the building permit fees. But this is another thing that we need to take up with Cavista. They're, asking us for some relief on that building fee ordinance. I think we're moving in a positive direction there. This wouldn't cost them anything. It's just how we spend it. So presumably, while both are moving forward, we think there won't be a problem with having them agree to the amendment, I should say, to the development agreement that'll give the village more flexibility as to the spending of a portion of the funds.
Okay, very good. That's really my only primary question.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Urban. Councilperson Perla.
Yes, yes, hi. Yes, I do have something to say because, and I'm just going to put it on the record because I was talking to Mr. Geller earlier today. I had the chance to look at the agenda items and stuff like that. The directive, as much, I don't see it here in this piece of document, and I wanted it to be very specific in how we actually going to spend this money and how it should be the council's decision on how to use the money is going to be used, not to have, I know that the village manager's position allows it to have some expenditure, up to $5,000 without even asking the council. So I don't want this to be part of that decision or whatever. I just want this money that's going to be moved to a specific purpose or, in solving, problems that we have in the village. I just want to.
Are you referring to the discussion from the Admin and Finance Committee of allocating
the $350,000?
Right, from each individual payment, allocating a certain specific set amount?
It's not to have, yeah, exactly, not to be expended on anything else, the purpose of,
So
finding the solution for
we had
the.
2 splits for each payment, and you want that to be.
And, and also how the payments is being split. Right now, we know we have 366,000, so we should start with 100,000, and then the second will be 150, and then, because it will be closer to the reality, or for us to get the $1.1 million. So the first draw should be at 100,000. Go ahead, Mr. Geller.
Yeah, I think you're going to say what I was going to say, so go ahead, Attorney Geller.
Yeah, and my understanding, this is not intended to be anything different than whatever administration and finance said, but my understanding is that, and Councilman Farrell has had this conversation with me, he wants it to be explicit, and one, this is something we'll need to take into account, that the money that is to be taken out of green space and be used for other purpose will be used only at the specific direction
Of the council.
council.
Correct.
That it will require a council vote to decide how that money is to be spent.
Yeah, and so correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Geller, but, so Councilman Pereira, so what you're asking, that would be in the ordinance? See, because this is just to get the process started, so it wouldn't be, that wouldn't be in here. This is just to get the process started, to kind of like give them the guidance. So when we get to the ordinance, then that specifically will be in the ordinance.
And the point is that the councilman expressed that to me, and I said, well, this is just a direction to us to draft, but I'm keenly, and I suggested that it should be put on the record. In our draft, we'll put something in that says the money is to be expended at the direction of council only. And I certainly am gonna, make sure that that's in our draft as we move forward. But the point of that is, to the extent that the council person wants to give that guidance, if anybody else has that kind of guidance, obviously it's still subject to introduction. There will be a first reading where you'll have 5 members. And then there'll be a second reading. Now, they may not necessarily both be at regular council meetings. We have some flexibility about that. But the idea is that there has to be both a first and second reading of the ordinance. The first, certainly, it's still subject to any kind of further amendment that you deem necessary. Limited amendments are permitted at second reading, depending on the nature of the amendment. And it's still going to be subject to, the public comment, the public knowing that this is coming. This is advance notice for anyone that does have particular issues or concerns. But it will go through the process of a first and second reading in order to be approved, and it'll be voted on by a full council. But noted, Council Member Perella, we hear you. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
So I appreciate you guys. So I'm going to open up to public comment really quickly. Does anybody from the public have any questions or comments about this particular subject? Yes. I was going to come to you next. How are we looking on Zoom? We're good? All right, so I'm going to close public comment. So Juan, I was coming right to you. Go ahead, Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And
No problem.
I think this is really the first time that we've been able to really talk about this. I just want to say now that, the sunshine and also that I have everybody here, we really have to look into this, especially if we have to change the code. Because we're going from, I'm going to call it trading square footage for square footage. We've gone from that, which is what the code says, so that there's no money exchange, to money exchange for a specific purpose that is related to the additional square footage. In other words, the more units you have, you trade it for open space, which is a benefit to additional people that are going to live there, to a fund that is now non-specific or specific for something that might be other than supporting additional people that are moving in there. So I just want to make sure that if we do change the code, I need very specific direction as to how we're going to do that, because I'm going to have to go back to statutes, and we're going to have to make sure that we're not, that we are completely on the book, or that we're doing this completely legally, and we have, crossed every T and dotted every I.
Yeah.
Because this is not an impact fee.
Yep.
So we have to look at whether or not this is a way out of impact fees, which is, would be a problem.
Yeah. Which is why we decided, when I was speaking to Attorney Geller, we were working on this for like hours. Which is why we decided to start the process to give a direction so that they can go through everything and we can get it done the correct way.
I honestly would prefer not changing the code.
I understand what you're saying.
But I changed the code at your pleasure, let's say. I mean, you have to direct. You represent the people, and you as representatives of the people need to tell us how the code needs to read. We then, professionals, need to make sure that it's legal within the statutes and within the legal conditions. But we will have to advise you whether or not we are treading a fine line or not.
I understand why. Thank you very much. Again, you guys, all we're looking to do here is, we're just looking to take the money that's coming in. We're not looking to change anything. We're looking to take the money that's already coming in for the green space. And from my understanding, and what I've always, been on about is because, is that from the trade-off of the green space to what was built was the 800,000. And we're barely even touching that. We're just going to that a little bit. But like I said, this is why I'm doing it this way, so that we get the process started, and Attorney Geller and our planners and Serbia can go through everything and do things the right way, so that we're on the up and up with everything. Anything else from anybody on the council to get this process started before I start to ask for? Go. I think we're still in the closed meeting. No, I closed it. I closed it when Juan was on his way up. I closed it. Anybody else? You
Yeah.
guys good up here?
Well, my question was actually going to be, for Juan, in terms of what, his position on this was, and I think he answered that succinctly. And so, like I had said in the Admin and Finance Committee, assuming that this would even be a possibility, right? Assuming that it would even be a possibility, what number did I say? 7. Yeah, okay. So, I thought I said 8. So if it turns out that we got a hold at the 8, I think I'm obviously comfortable with that, since I was pushing for not moving it at all. But for some of the residents, this might be a tricky one, because if they had not seen the Admin and Finance Committee meeting where we talked about this for about an hour, I think, then so I would recommend anybody at home watching and you're thinking, well, what are they even talking about? Go to the Admin and Finance Committee meeting from January this year, and
It's the 12th, I believe, was it?
and you'll be you'll be entertained for hours, and so and you'll be up to date as well. So so having said that, I certainly agree with Juan in terms of I guess that's the idealist in me coming out. But then, on the other hand, if we do have an avenue and it is legal and we are able to do it, then as I said, I'm amenable to discussing that options. And I agree that any ordinance obviously would be very detailed in its prescriptions.
Absolutely, absolutely. That being said, seeing no more, hearing no more from anybody else, everybody else, we're good? Zoom is good? Okay, you guys, do I have a motion to approve, let me get the exact language. Do I have a motion to approve the CAVI fee adjustment public benefits directive to get started? Do I have a motion to approve that?
Are we making the changes for the first and second?
Ordinance?
No.
What's that?
Totals, the removal, like the removal of the fee, like 100,000 first instead of 150
Hold on one second.
first.
But I believe
The way
that,
it's broke down
well,
is 150, 100.
well, because we don't know if we can do that yet, right?
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to accomplish right now is approve the directive to allow them to go through that
start,
process.
yeah.
Because,
Well, but since it's here, it says first payment.
I'm with you.
So you're
So the
looking,
payment would, so the payment would still be the same.
You're
The question becomes, where is it?
Whether we can do it or not.
Yes.
That will be modified.
But the
First
payment-
payment, which is what the money is already
Yes.
in, it should be 100, not 100.
so you want to do 150 where, Councilman Pereira, at the end? The second one?
Second one.
What's the difference between the first and second?
I don't know.
Because the
first one-
police officers need the money sooner more than later. I mean, we just had, a police officer, Saturday night that was, he was in harm's way, ended up, chasing down a suspect, and his car is now messed up. So now we have a full-time police officer without a car.
Right.
So now we're even worse off. So I think the 150 needs to be in the first one. It's dire.
Mayor, let me just point out that, if you direct us to draft, I mean, we still have to.
No, I understand. It can change, so it can change, but
It's not final.
Yeah, it's not
This is
final.
just-
Yeah, this is just to get the process started, but,
It's not the ordinance.
yeah.
Yes, and in
Yeah.
that we don't have an answer yet if this is even possible.
Yeah.
So,
There's
Yeah, so
Policing, I think it's.
where there's a will, there's a way, sure. But the point being that, so
So do I have a motion to approve the Cavista Fee Adjustment Public Benefits Directive?
I'll make a motion to approve the directive for the Cavista fee adjustment.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Moved by Vice Mayor Erban, second by Councilperson Pereira. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Pereira,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irwin,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, you guys. All right, so now we're moving on to the resolutions, ordinances. Attorney Geller, I'm going to bring you in on this also. So backstory, so during the last council, before I was sworn in, we had our former clerk, Mr. Kobe, who was with us for many years, served with us for many years, was a great village clerk, was always there, loved by the residents, always went above and beyond. And she was unceremoniously, put it that way. She was kind of dealing with a lot back then, you guys, and it led her, she said because of a hostile work environment, to put in her letter of resignation, which once she does that, she had 30 days to finish working out per her contract, but the attorney at that time and someone at council at that time, decided to have her not finish her 30 days, where the clerk, like the manager, like the attorney, is hired, fired, given directives from the council. And it wasn't the full council that decided to not allow Mr. Kobe to finish off her employment. It was never brought to the full council to even give us a choice of that. So, on my quest to continue to correct things from the past, and to continue to save the village as much money as possible, by anything that might come from, a pending lawsuit or anything like that, I spoke to Attorney Geller, been in discussions with the former clerk Jacoby, and we found a way to kind of settle everything down, where she would, kind of release any and all legal action against the village. It would cost us, a lot of money, and to reinstate her. Attorney Geller, I'm going to let you come in now, and then I'll come back in.
Yes, the village has been very ably represented by Gus Bravo in this matter. Mr. Kobe was represented by Matthew Sarelson. They have been in conversations with each other, and I've been in conversations with both of them. There are a number of claims there of record that she had against the village for some severance, in part just under the contract, in part because she was precluded from finishing out the term of her notice. There were also claims that she could have brought related to the hostile work environment, and she would be having attorney's fees. Her attorney had asked for $7,500 to that point, and we would be paying, because the village had determined to have retained outside counsel. Again, probably something I could have taken over, but we were being well represented in the matter. The settlement calls for a payment only of some back salary that she was owed and had never received. And for just over half of the amount that her attorney had requested, only $4,000 of the $7,500. It also cuts off any possibility of other attorney's fees to her attorney, and it limits our attorney's fees, should we have continued with the outside counsel, Gus Bravo, to whatever it was involved in reaching the settlement. She comes back with an hourly raise that she points out she had not received in a number of years and had been, in her view, promised. But in terms of an out-of-pocket expenditure for us, it's extremely limited, and we get back a good employee. I say that with great regard for our interim clerk, who has always made clear that her status was going to be only as interim. So there are a number of benefits to us. I mean, operationally, it's helpful. From a financial standpoint, I think it's advisable. You have a summary of the bullet points. There is actually, as of, I guess it's today, there's a full written document that expands on all the different things we're being released from. There are just a whole range of potential claims that we're getting a release from. And she continues basically under her previous employment agreement. She was working between 30 and 40 hours a week, and she continues at that rate. It's a pretty low rate in terms of the overall compared to other clerks. So, as I said, there's a full written document executed except by the village pending council approval. The summary of those bullet points is attached here. I recommend it. It seems like a good solution pretty much all the way around. The village does give an apology for the hostile work environment, and we agree that we will take steps so that that does not occur again. It does say that we will attempt to turn the position full-time, but frankly that is, and the former and possibly again clerk understands the village is extremely constrained financially right now. That's something we agree to do if and when we're financially able to do so, which is not this minute, and she's aware of that. And I think that summarizes all the essential terms. So as I said, I recommend the settlement. I think it's a win-win, and it ensures that money isn't paid in legal fees, and it ensures that we're not liable for damages or severance or anything else.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. I'll just move on to Vice Mayor Urban for now.
Personally, I think this is a good resolution. Personally, I would be very glad to have Clerk Jacoby back, but I don't represent myself up here. I represent the residents. And so if you could, Attorney Geller, please just speak a little bit more to the decision to bring the hourly from 28 up to 33. I think I calculated that at like 17%. If you wouldn't mind.
Her attorney actually had also requested, for what it's worth, that we agree that there would be an annual raise of $1 an hour or more every year. I should say that we rejected that and said no. There is a procedure in there for annual evaluations, and raises can be tied to the annual evaluation, but they're not guaranteed, and that we would not agree. As much as we wanted this deal, we rejected that and said we would not agree to that we were going to rely on what's there. Her point is twofold. Number one, that she did not get evaluations or raises, even cost of living raises, for, I believe it was 2 or 3 years that she felt she should have been receiving. And secondly, competitively, I mean, we've had the position open for a long time. We've been fortunate to have someone of the skill of the interim village clerk who is certified to be available to help us in this time, but we haven't gotten much in the way of any interest for anybody qualified to serve in the position, because we are way below what other municipalities pay for clerks. I think that was a substantial factor in the interim clerk's decision that she would not pursue this on a permanent basis also. So it's A, something that she feels she was entitled to, but B, to get her to agree to come back. We have some competitive forces. My understanding is she's giving up quite a bit in what she's making at her new job and taking a substantial pay cut, even with the raise, to come back here. And if without some adjustment that she felt she was already entitled to, she wasn't willing to forego that much more in salary. So there's a competitive element to it as well as, it's not just an entitlement.
That's very helpful, because I know that there's going to be certainly, pointed questions from the residents on that exact issue. And then I'll leave it at that. But anyone else?
Councilman Perillo? You good? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much either. We'll turn it over to the public. Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments about the reinstatement of Clerk Jacoby? How are we looking on Zoom? Good? All right, do I have a motion to approve the reinstatement of Clerk Eunice Jacoby? And a settlement.
I will make the motion to approve the settlement agreement with Clerk Jacoby and reinstate her as well.
Do I have a second to the reinstatement and settlement?
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion moved by Vice Mayor Urban, motion second by Councilperson Perrella. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Pereira,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you very much, you guys. Before we move on, I just want to say really quickly, Ms. Jacoby will, I spoke to her and everything, and so she'll be beginning on the 1st. Put that there. She'll be beginning on the 1st of February. There's something that, though, I did want to bring up to you guys, because, we are living through COVID, and a lot of times people's employment is not good. And so, government is a strange thing sometimes, right? Because you have, job security in a way, but then you have no job security because you could be here and gone. And in government, especially in local government, you'll see that you'll have individuals that, might be working here, or might be working in this city or that city, and things like that happen. And sometimes it could be a shock to where, you come in and you have your position, you have your job one night, and because no fault of yours, you just don't have it anymore. That just happened to Clerk Lattimore. In my heart, I cannot cut her off tomorrow. I think that, we should, I would say 2 weeks, but at least a week, we should leave her on the payroll so that, because it could be a shock to anybody, you guys, that, somebody comes into work tonight, and then by the time they leave tonight, like, that's it, and then, and that's it. There's just no more payment at all. What do you guys think about that, Vice Mayor Irwin? And I'll come to you, Councilman.
Well, I certainly agree, and Clerk Lattimore came in incredibly difficult circumstances, and has done a phenomenal job, and so I would say that I would support at least 2 weeks, to be perfectly honest, from the same point that you're taking it in terms of from a human empathetic standpoint, I would honestly support 30 days, to be perfectly honest. And so I know that a lot of residents would take issue with that and say, it's foolish, it's not wise, it's not, but certainly 2 weeks, I can absolutely agree to that.
I
So,
think 2 weeks is a good middle
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Councilperson Perrella?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
2 weeks it should be fine.
Yes, Attorney Geller.
And Mayor, just for the record, it's not as if Clerk Jacoby does not know the job. She certainly does. But she's been gone for a number of months, and there's certainly, operationally, it's advisable to have the interim clerk go through with the returning clerk everything that has occurred and bring her up to speed on all the stuff that's happened that she's missed. So just to be clear, there is a perfectly valid municipal purpose in doing this for the purpose of making sure that the transition is absolutely complete I said, it's not a matter of knowing the job, but there are a lot of things that have passed. There's a lot of things that need to be, closed out, looked at, wrapped up. Everything needs to be signed. So I just want the record to be clear, there's a valid municipal purpose for that as well.
Thank you very much, Attorney Geller. We'll do all in favor on this, you guys? Go ahead, Councilperson
I have
Farrell. I mean, Vice Mayor Urban, I'm sorry about that.
So in light of what Attorney Geller is saying, I'll just say that 4 weeks from tonight, might not be 30 days, but it'll be 28 days, but 4 weeks from tonight will be the February General Council meeting. And that might be even an appropriate time to publicly acknowledge Clerk Lattimore's service, give Clerk Jacoby and Clerk Lattimore ample time to be on the same page. So not to throw too many wrenches in the machine here, but I would support 4 weeks.
I hear you, Vice Mayor Urban. I hear you, my brother. I hear you. But I just think that, so I understand, and I don't disagree with what Attorney Geller said, but Clerk Jacoby was here for a long time. I think she'll come back, and within like 2 days, she'll hit the ground running.
We know it. Yeah.
So I would stick with 2 weeks. But we'll hear what Councilperson Farrell, what you have to say.
No, I agree with the first, option. We had 2 weeks it's a good, time. We were going through, the hiring of a permanent position, anyway, so it's not like it's something by surprise or anything like that. So it's 2 weeks is.
And are we saying 2 weeks from the 1st? Or the 31st, right? Or we're saying from tonight?
No, I was saying from
From tonight.
tomorrow
So the
morning.
8th. So
From
we're saying-
tomorrow, from tomorrow morning, yeah.
So we're saying out to the 9th, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying 2 weeks from tomorrow morning. Because we have to understand, like, and Vice Mayor Urban had, and humanity-wise, I agree with him 1,000%. But we have to pay both of them at the same time. And for 4 weeks to pay both of them is a lot of money for the village.
Yeah, I'm giving manager
So-
palpitations, I know.
Yeah. To pay both for 4 weeks is a lot of money, so I think 2 weeks is our limit when it comes to that. Anybody from the audience have anything they want to say about any of this as far as the reinstatement? Yes, come to the podium. Say your name and address for the record. Can you come to the other, I don't think that was working tonight, so the other podium. Thank you very much.
My name is Velvet Connolly, and my address is 355 Northeast 87th Street. And I know when I came in to find out about the special election, and I saw Miss Pam, and kind of was able to talk to her in great detail about a lot of things, and better understand her job and the pressures that there are. I know I was astounded. And I know that I had actually said that to her. I was like, well, we need to find a way to keep you here. And I think, as I sit in the meetings, and it might be a moot point, I'm not sure. But as I sit in the meetings, just to be honest, it is a frustrating, I think, perspective, right? That it's like we're not going after the best. We're not, trying to do the most. We're like constantly kind of like scraping and scrounging and doing what we can. And I understand if that is the situation. But as a resident, I would really love to see more push to solve that, to see it as a problem, right? Not as like well, this is just how it is and we have to work with it. Yes, we have to work with it, but it should be corrected. Like it just shouldn't be just kind of the order of the day that we just absolve ourselves to constantly not being able to do what's in the best interest of the village because we simply can't afford it, right? And I know that money doesn't come out of the thin air, but I think you guys, at least from what I've seen, there are residents, there are so many people that seem to be willing and have skill sets that may be underutilized or right, where maybe there can be a drive toward how can we have the money that we need as the village to do what really is in our best interest.
Yeah, You got, I'm good? Yeah, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. The first thing that I would say is that, she's being reinstated as, in her part-time position. So we still have, in March, we're going to have that mid-year budget review. And then from there, we'll be talking about fulfilling the full-time position for the clerk position, right? So that job will be going out, eventually be opened up and things like that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. Clerk Lattimore, was very essential to to the village, for the time that she's been here. I don't know if you've ever come into contact with Clerk Jacoby.
No,
No,
and I
okay.
want to be clear,
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
she's
speaking
been here not only.
in reference to her at all. I've never met her,
Okay.
and so I'm not speaking about that. I'm just saying in general, it seems like that's kind of the consensus when there is an issue, that it's kind of like, oh, we don't really have the money, so we just have to do whatever we can.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And we're trying to correct that. And part of the other agenda item for the development fees is another step towards that, towards not being able to just, settle for whatever. But I encourage you to continue to come. You already know how I feel about you. I wish one day you're up here, with us. Even if I'm not here, I want you to see you up here, because I think you should be up here. But once you start to come in contact with Clerk Jacoby, I think that you'll realize just how great of an individual she is for the village.
No, definitely, but she needs to be paid too.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like I said, that's why we're having the mid-year budget review in March, and then we can, see what we have and see how we can work things. And then, once we put that position full-time, we can open it up and really, do what we can. So you're absolutely right, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
If I could, I'd like to address as well. So, I don't have an interest in raising old drama, but I do want to clarify just a couple of things. The first is that the primary reason we're in this situation is because, without mincing words, we had an attorney who took that decision out of the hands of the council. That's what happened in a nutshell, right? So this action in terms of reinstating her is a correction of that which was removed from the council, right? The other is that from the beginning, I do believe Attorney Geller is correct in saying, and Clerk Lattimore, please correct me if I'm wrong, but she had expressed fairly sincerely from the beginning that she really did not have an interest in being here for a long time, full time. She really did see this as, we're lucky, we are truly lucky to have had her through all of this, because, as Attorney Geller had said, our candidates were, she was head and shoulders above the other candidate in that scenario, and with her declaration that she really did not have an intention of staying on beyond the interim period, that initiated a search for a clerk. And so in that search, as Attorney Geller had stated, it became even more evident that we were originally quite lucky to have Clerk Jacoby with the skills that she and the diligence that she brought to the job. And so I think some residents will look at one of the items in the settlement agreement, which reads, the village apologizes for the hostile work environment and agrees that in the future she will not be subjected to one. The reason we can make that guarantee is because recently there was a decision from the Ethics Commission on a sunshine violation. It said there was no sunshine violation. But what it outlined very clearly was that there was a single council person who lodged multiple complaints with her, which essentially was her allegation for more than a year. So she sought help from the council and, quite frankly, from our attorney for more than a year to resolve that matter. Right, prior attorney, yes, prior attorney, yes. And so there was a fantastic amount of drama, which obviously is wasteful through that entire process. And so that is, in a nutshell, how we've arrived here tonight. So I hope that helps. I don't know if it's...
Definitely, I appreciate
Okay.
that.
So-
I just want to be clear, though, I wasn't really referring to this situation because I know nothing about
Okay.
it. right? But the part that I did hear tonight and that I did speak with Ms. Pam about was more the financial aspect of kind of how this is all playing out. So I was just speaking on that part.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and we're working hard, week in, week out to correct all of that.
And you were clear.
I know you guys are.
You were clear.
No, I
so-
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, as always. Always a pleasure to see you here. All right, you guys.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
May I say something?
Yes, of course, Clerk Lattimore.
First of all, I want to say, thank you. You guys have been, you guys have been a joy to work with. First of all, let me explain something to you all. I am the professional mentor of Janice Colby. I was her professional mentor when she came into the position. She is a wonderful municipal clerk. And she and I had conversations over the years about certain things and how to deal with them and how, because this position can just be a lot sometimes. So with that being said, I have always sat in the seat with the intentions or the hope of holding it for her when things could come back to a more level-headed, sometimes you have to get away from a situation in order to kind of see things a little bit more clearly. And I want to say that I appreciate the way that you guys have handled her. I appreciate the apology that you have extended to her. The clerk's position can be really, really difficult sometimes because people need us, but they don't see us. And they don't see us a lot of times until we're gone. Janice will step back in and continue the wonderful work that she's always done because this is her system. And I tell people all the time, I've done this for 20 years. I had a learning curve in this job because it's her system. And it's very difficult to walk into someone else's system and kind of carry it on without making some things your own. So again, I appreciate, everything, working with the manager. Joe Geller and I have gone back for many, many years. We keep running into each other. I don't know what that says. But again, I appreciate you all, and I thank you for the 2 weeks. I appreciate it. And anytime that you need me or there's anything that I can do for the village, do not hesitate to call.
Well, Madam Clerk, we really appreciate you wholeheartedly. I mean, you came in when everything was just wild and crazy. We didn't even know if we were going to go up or down. It was budget season, if you remember, and then with the special election situation, it was just a lot of stuff was happening. I was just coming in to be mayor in November, the end of November, basically December, the last meeting of November. So it's been a lot, and we wouldn't have been able to get through it without you. So we really appreciate that. Hearing nothing from nobody else, you guys, I want to have a motion so that it's official that we keep her on the payroll for the next 2 weeks. Do I have a motion that we keep Clerk Lattimore on the payroll for the next 2 weeks?
I'll make the motion to keep Clerk Lattimore on the payroll for the next 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Erbaum and second by Councilperson Perrella. Madam Clerk, may I please have a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Perrella,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urban,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
The item passes 3-0.
Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate it, you guys. And thank you very much again, Clerk Lattimore. Thank you very, very much. You guys are moving on to reports now, I believe, and I think the first one, Madam Manager, I think you're up.
Thank you very much. It's been a very busy month, and I will just dive right in. We have a new code enforcement officer. Her name is Michelle Charrier. She's hit the ground running. Her first day was January 4th. And I'll get a little bit more into what she's been doing in a second. Chief Magnuson and I have been exploring some communication services to improve messaging for public safety matters. This was an effort that was brought to us by a member of the Sustainability and Resiliency Task Force. So we're exploring those items now, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for us as a village to just have better communication, especially in emergency situations. So we're looking into that, and we'll have something to you as soon as we get some quotes. Another bright note is that the village has submitted its appeal for the deobligated reimbursement funds from FEMA. We did that on Friday, January 8th, through attorneys with Baker Donaldson and our own interim village attorney, Joe Geller, who served as well with this appeal process. Mayor Nickerson and I worked with DP&O, our contractor, tirelessly to get that appeal in. And simultaneously, as we are waiting appeal, responding to appeal questions, we're also responding to the recosting of those deobligated funds and the submission of the $660,000. So that is something that I work on daily. But we are getting closer, and I hope that there won't be much more to tie it up, but we are hopeful. And I have been keeping you all abreast and apprised of everything as I get information. Special projects, as you all know, we do have these green space fees that we can utilize, and we kind of put on the back burner the parks project as we transferred administrations with the county as well as within El Portal. And I was able to just make some inroads with the new administration to see, to get us back on chart. The property ownership matter with the River Estates Park and the Nature Trail, they're both undeveloped transportation right-of-ways according to Miami-Dade County. They're under the jurisdiction of the Department of Transportation and Public Works. I reached out a number of times to staffers trying to get some assistance in just figuring out how we can get rights to those properties. And I, just as late as this afternoon, was given something from 1982 that states that we have that the right-of-way was given to the village, but it doesn't give us the ownership. And so I'm going to have to dig a little deeper, and from 1982, I don't know where that will lead us, but I'm trying to secure that those properties, or at least some authorization to utilize the properties the way we want to, so that we can redesign, renovate those parks. Also, just an FYI, the neighbor to the River Estates Park, it's a new property owner, has paid for a bond and has permits to install a pool. So the River Estates Park at this very moment is a bit torn up. They have not done anything to the newly erected plant stand, but they did drive over the grass, and so some of that grass is up. But we did secure a bond that that property will be restored to the condition it was in before. They needed to dig for that swimming pool. So that is our building department trying to do the best for us as we move forward with that resident and trying to assist them, but we also have to maintain what we do have. So that is a new fee that we are imposing, and that's part of those new fees that were discussed, that we do have to get bonds for our right-of-way properties when people are conducting construction. We are expecting our shuttle circulator pilot program to start in February of March this year. We're a little bit late because of FDOT just being a little slower after the pandemic, but we're still on course. The village has submitted all of its necessary documents and secured the service provider. I'm working still with the attorney, Mr. Geller, for the master service agreement for the service provider, but in the meantime, FDOT is still working on the grant contract, and will be hopefully submitting something to us within 30 days. So we are hoping to get that started very soon. The property owners of the sanctuary have been contacted on a number of occasions. We're working presently with our new code enforcement officer, Michelle Shariar. They have a number of maintenance requirements that they need to tend to, and we are very happy to have Ms. Shariar address some of the lack. She's working with the sanctuary as well as even Cavista, and talking to the Barrington owners to upgrade their properties. There have been some illegal dumping. She's addressed some of those issues as well as the 16-acre former trailer park She's even working with them to get that property back into some code compliance because it has been a little bit too long and it looks pretty sad and paltry, and we want to get those properties back to be in compliance with our code, but we would also like to see them developed. So I'm hopeful that that will kind of light some fires, and as we get through this pandemic, we can see some more activity, especially on the annexed area. Ms. Charrier did start earlier this month. Unfortunately, the vehicle has broken down twice in this month, and it's still in the shop after a week. It went in last Tuesday, and it's still there being looked at. We're really in a bad situation with the code officer's vehicle. And while she's waiting for the car to be repaired or at least patched up enough for her to drive and do some work, she has been finding innovative ways to improve the administration or the administrative aspects of code enforcement. So she's actually been working with BSNA to improve the notices, so the courtesy notices. She's doing all of this online as opposed to printouts, and that's another way for tracking. It's going to improve her abilities to get cases that aren't solved. She's able to download things faster and also send those to special magistrate when that time comes. So I'm very excited about her, just bringing these new ideas here and working on those things. And so she's working on the technical items, but we need to get that car back online. And she has used her personal car even to do some code enforcement, which I'm very concerned with because, I just don't think that's a good mark for us. So I really want us to explore something, and I'm hopeful that we can work these developers' fees out or something, because we do have to get that car replaced. We also, as you know, have the new building clerk. He's been with us for 2 months now, and he's doing a great job. They're both working very hard, and I think they're very happy with the village. And I have to just say that I'm pleased with the staff we have. I think everybody's more than capable, and they've got great ideas. I just continue to encourage and promote a healthy and happy work environment, peaceful, and I want to continue that. So I'm pleased that things are looking better here in the village of El Portal, and I want my staff to feel comfortable and empowered to do the best that they can do. Also this month, I did attend the tree board meeting under the new chair, Vice Mayor Anders Urban. We had some great discussions about ways to address some of the resiliency matters that are that planting our trees and being Tree City USA can bring to the village, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from that. We also want to look into tree surveys and tree planting plans, and so we have some good things coming down the pike with that. Our water projects are all on schedule. Everything's kind of up to date. We are just reaching out and getting some more things done, and revisiting our stormwater plans, as well as the septic to sewer. I know that our village attorney and I have been working on some things with that, and we'll continue. I am requesting a town hall community meeting for our waste, our solid waste contractor. I think it's really important that our residents get to hear directly from them. If we could do some kind of Zoom town hall, I want to plan that. I've actually asked Coastal to provide me some dates that they would have for the month of February. We've had a lot of issues with bulk pickup, with trash pickup, with receptacles, and all kinds of things. And I just attribute that to growing pains with the new service provider. But I really want us to all get on the same page, and I really need our residents to be able to ask, get the answers that they need as we do the transition, because I'm sure we can work it out. But we have had a lot of hiccups along the way with this transition. Let's see here, I'm sorry. Northeast 2nd Avenue, North Miami Avenue, street lighting has been out for over a month. I think it's been about 2 months. We finally made some contact with the Miami-Dade County. I was written an email yesterday that said they would address it this week. I'm hopeful. I will stay on them. about that because response has been a little lacking, but we're hopeful that things are turning around now that the new administration is up and running. And also this month, we revealed our new website. We're very excited about that and have some really good things, really good information on there for our residents. I want to welcome our new councilpersons, Dr. Anna Lightfoot Ward and Ms. Darian Martin. I'm really looking forward to working with the councilperson-elect Ward and councilperson-elect Martin. And I think that the village is definitely on the upswing. So I'm happy about the change, and I'm happy about where things are headed, and it's looking good. So that concludes my report. And if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be placing the report. I know it's long. It's 14 pages, but it'll be on the website tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Well, with your 14 pages, you kind of took, because this is the thing, the manager, myself, and the attorney are on every meeting, every day, hours and hours, every week. And seriously, we're talking about every week since Attorney Geller has been here, Interim Attorney Geller has been here since I've been mayor-elect even. Every week, we've been in meetings 2 times at least, 3 normal, and especially going through the FEMA 4 times a week, like 2-hour meetings. Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, we were on meetings today, like we were for hours. We were on meetings today for hours. So a lot of stuff she has, a lot of stuff that I have. I will say this though, being part of the Mayor's Coalition, we get a lot of schools and different things, and different individuals reach out to us, different organizations. I'm just talking fast because I just want to make this quick so we can go ahead and then move on and finish the meeting. But Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade College North Campus reached out to me and said that they're offering an incentive covering up to 13 to 18 credits and tuition fees tuition fees alone. If you get accepted, they'll cover up to like 13 to 18 credits for free and give you $325 for spending fees. Classes start either January 25th, which is yesterday, February 8th, or March 8th. To register, you can reach out to Alexis at 305-237-1200, 305-237-1200, or you can email her at nnsc@mdc.edu, nnsc@mdc.edu. We've done a lot of FEMA stuff. There was before we got started with our January 12th committee meetings, myself and Vice Mayor Urban were here when the community forum for flooding started, and flooding's really huge in the village of El Portal. Even it was crazy because I was here watching it, Vice Mayor was watching it with me, and then the manager was in her office watching it. We were all watching it. It started at 5:30, ended at 7. Our committee meeting started at 6:30 though, so we all had to get off for like a half an hour early when they went to their breakout rooms. But it was real great information about flooding. That was on January 12th. On January 14th, they did another one about flooding. That was really good and very important. And you guys, we have some more coming up. I know the manager sent some stuff out also about the what was it that you sent out today? Yeah, I have it here. I was gonna go to the one that Chairperson Carpenter sent me, but the one that you sent was called the B305 Challenge, you guys. There's a webinar, B305 Challenge, that the manager sent out. It's about saving energy, water, and money. There's an info session January 28th from 12 to 1 p.m. And all you guys, it's through the Miami-Dade Resiliency office. And all you guys have to do is, if you guys just Google B305, it pops up. There's a website here to register, but it's a really long website. I'm not going to read that.
It's on our website.
It is on our website. We
put
posted it on our website. So we do have that there. And the last thing I'll say, just for sake of time, is that for the items that are coming up, Chairperson Carpenter actually reached out and she sent that there's going to be more webinars, you guys, as far as resiliency and things of the such. There is one this upcoming Friday, the 29th, about water quality in the Little River that affects us directly. Friday the 29th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We'll also have this put onto the website, and then there'll be more coming up in February. There's one about septic systems, you guys. There's one about septic systems, February 10th, Wednesday, February 10th. These are like short for like little lunchtime webinars through the Miami-Dade County Resiliency Office also, February 10th, Wednesday, February 10th, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. about septic systems, you guys. That's really big for all of us. So I'm going to stop there. There's a lot more that I could say, but we don't want to spend too much time, you guys. Let's get ready to go home. All right. Any questions or comments about my particular report, the manager's report? How are we looking on Zoom? We good?
Mayor, I'm
Boom.
sorry,
Yes.
I will be remiss if I don't say this, because, you know, my staff also helps me with the monthly reports and give their highlights, and I skipped over this page from Chief Magnuson. I'm not going to give it all because he, you know, has a lot, but I do want to say that the traffic detail has started on the 87th Street corridor, and that we have the FDLE CJIS technical audit was conducted last week. Fantastic results. Just a couple of little things that need to be tweaked that are really outside of the office and more so on our tech, from the tech part. So we're doing fantastic things in addressing everything in McGrath, as well as just staying up to where we need to be. And then the chief, as you know, has been in trainings for the human trafficking, ADL classes on extremism, FBI security webinars, all kinds of things that, you know, he keeps us all apprised of. So he's doing those things, and the department's doing well. And I also attended a 3-hour ethics training today for managers. So I just wanted to put that back out there too.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Madam Manager. Another task force member, Sandra Valencia, also sent out information. There's a seawall Q&A. The Miami-Dade County Office of Resilience and Office of Historical Preservation is doing a seawall Q&A through WebEx, 2 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. We'll see if we can get that information on the website. What she sent me was not, it was an image, it wasn't an attachment, but I'll see if I can, go ahead. Oh, sorry about that. It is Thursday the 28th. It's Thursday in 2 days. Thursday, January 28th, the Seawall Q&A through WebEx from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Seawall Q&A, and we'll try to get that up on the website also. Like I said, what she sent me was an image. It wasn't an attachment, so we're going to have to somehow grab the image and put it onto the website. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday day of service. There was the community plant swap through the El Portal Women's Club. It's a beautiful setup, you guys. It's right there at the corner of North 86th Street and Northwest 2nd Avenue. 2nd, correct? It's 2nd, right? Yep. 86th Street and Northwest 2nd Avenue. Everything's a blur right now. 86th Street, Northwest 2nd Avenue. I was there. They built the stand, the community plant swap stand. It's beautiful. The pictures are up on the website. If you guys go to the website, you can see all of that. The very next day, there was the Pelican Bay Harbor release, the Hawk release. The village manager was there. The chief was there. That was great. That's also on the website where Pelican Bay Harbor, they brought Pelican Bay Harbor. So our cameraman behind that works for Full Moon, he is the only man that I know that is scared of birds. And so he is terrified of birds. And so as soon as I started to say there was the Hawk release, if you guys on the other side of this camera could see his face, he is now bright red. He is scared of birds. But we did do that, and those images are on the website. Shout out to Full Moon, man. Those images are on the website. We also had a COVID countywide moment of silence. Chief, I appreciate that. Chief and Officer Owens, who's in the back. Is that Officer Owens? How you doing, Sandy? What's going on? Officer Owens, who's in the back, he also joined us, and Sergeant Sharp joined us. And we joined the countywide COVID moment of silence, and that was great also, you guys, to acknowledge everybody who has died so far from COVID-19. So we did that. We turned the police lights on and everything. That was a great moment. We all did a moment of silence. Even I asked Manager Alou to ask Manager Alou to get in touch with Mayor Cabillos, who came out, and Councilperson Perrella was there with us, with the officers, and he was like on his way home from work, and he was like, hey, I got to come join you guys because this is an important cause. We appreciate that, Councilperson Perrella. Thank you very much. Let's get ready to go home, you guys. Thank you very much. And Attorney Gill, I know you wanted to say something in your report.
Yeah, there's a lot to say, but I'll try and keep it very quick. You're doing so great, Council, on getting through this in such a short order. We had a 2-hour conversation internally today regarding the PBA. We have a bargaining session set for Friday at 11 with the PBA. I'd like to take this opportunity, council members. We're obviously have a lot of financial issues with the PBA. And from our conversation today, I think we may have underestimated, or somebody did, maybe not us, but somebody underestimated the financial impact that came from not appealing that impasse ruling. It's extreme for the next fiscal year. So I think worse than we may have expected. But we're working it. However, Friday, we're also going to be hearing from the PBA about non-economic issues that they may want to take up for the purpose of the bargaining. For instance, in the past, one of those was take-home cars. So there are issues. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask the members of the council if there are any issues that you think that the village needs to raise on our side of the negotiation with the PBA, other than strictly economic issues. Please get them to me or to the manager, hopefully by Friday when we have our session at 11 a.m. If we don't raise things, I won't say for sure it has to be at this session, but as time passes, we cannot bring things up that have not been bargained between the sides. So if you do have something that's a non-economic issue that you would like us to address, please get that to me or the manager. We spent the time today with Mayor as well, but also with our village CFO, crunching numbers, trying to find ways, and we're exploring, and I'm not going to be long-winded. We've talked about what the basic approach is, and that's what we're trying to do. It does involve trying to see if there's anything that can be done to get a 3-year contract and to do something for this fiscal year. We are so constrained financially that that's just not easy for us to do. But I just want to comment, one of the things I said during our meeting today is this is like a jigsaw puzzle. The money that we're now obligated by law to pay in the next fiscal year to members of the police force who are underpaid, who deserve to be paid, and we certainly want labor peace. One of the places we can look if we get the general revenue is some of the money that's coming from Cavista. In order to get that done, one of the things that will be helpful to the general environment is to come up with a definite solution on the issue of the building permit fees that we just got we had a discussion last week and we're in conversation on. And it does look like some adjustment on our part, especially for higher value projects, is appropriate. Davie has a model that our building official called to our attention. They charge on the first portion, and then if you exceed that, they don't just cut the fee, they only cut the fee on the second portion. And then, I think they charge a fee for the first 15 million in value. They cut it not for that part, but for the second 15 million. They cut it again if you go over 30, and again if you go over 45 million. And that kind of stepped plan seems appropriate to us. But of course, the devil's always in the details. So we have, our FEMA appeal is filed, and we're pursuing it, as the manager has told you. We hope to see the first tranche of money that FEMA approved. It's approximately 1/3 of the total, and roughly half of what we owe in the loan. The manager and others had a conversation, our contractor, with State Department of Emergency Management. We hope to see that first tranche in 30 days. Now, again, we get none of that money. That money all goes to reduce our loan. It's pledged as collateral. But if we get that payment, that does save us, presumably, some money in monthly interest payments, because it reduces the debt. So that would be still somewhat helpful. These things are all related. They're pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that the manager and I, usually with the assistance of the mayor and our CFO and the police chief, we work at trying to get all of these problems kept in our past. There are other, obviously, ongoing issues, such as we're working on the pothole issue, we're working on the swale issue. We've got what you've directed us to do on Cavista, which could certainly provide some relief to things like the cost of policing, which will increase as a result of that. It's not an impact fee, but there's got to be a way for us to do what we want and need to do. So there are other issues that we're working on. We try to, take them serially. We try to get solutions. I think we're making good progress on getting a lot of these things solved. Our goal is to be able to put you in a position where you're not held back by past problems, and you can, have a stable financial base and not have these issues gnawing at you, and be able to look to the future and moving forward and improving the quality of life for the village residents. So I'll be happy to answer any particular questions, but that's an overview of what we're working on.
Thank you, Attorney Geller. I know we have somebody. Do we still have the individual who wants to ask a question in the audience? Ms. Garcia, if you could just say your name and address for the record?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Ibis Garcia, 500 Northwest 87th Street. I just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank Ms. Alou. A few months back, when we were having one of the last council meetings, the issue with the FPL wooden poles was discussed, and the ability for them to be removed because of all the concrete poles that had been exchanged. The pole over here was hindered because Comcast and AT&T both had cables on that pole. And after about 3 years of trying, we were able to get Comcast to change the lines, but not AT&T. It took us, I think, 3 or 4 years of trying to get them here, and it never manifested. But with the help of the village manager and the village themselves, I'm happy to report that AT&T finally came out and moved the pole lines and cleared the pole so that FPNL can remove it. That was the last hurdle that FPNL had stated. And I would just like to publicly thank the village manager, because the AT&T gentleman did mention that the city was behind the push to get the work done. So I don't think if it was not for that effort from the village, it would probably be another 4 years before any resolution would have been done, because there was nobody else to call at this point to get any action done. So I'm happy to report the progress, and I just wanted to publicly say thank you to the village and the village manager for at least giving us some hope that after 2015, when they told us the pole would be gone in 6 months, it might actually look like we're getting much closer to that goal.
Thank you very, very, very much, Ms. Garcia. We really appreciate that. I always appreciate good news. You've always been a wonderful resident. Ms. Garcia was my painting partner when we were putting together the community plant swap.
And it came out gorgeous. I am going to boast that the Women's Club did do a wonderful job, and the color that was chosen, my fellow dolls, we did a wonderful job, and it looks beautiful. So I hope the villagers enjoy it, and they can swap plants. And we have a little watering can there so that, you know, anybody who happens to be there can water the plants. And come and feel free to take a plant, drop a plant. That's the whole idea, a community plant swap.
It was absolutely beautiful, and Ms. Garcia did a wonderful job. She worked nonstop that entire day, that entire morning to get that done, and I really appreciate that. And I couldn't have had a better painting partner than her. So.
Yeah, well, I thank all the ladies because everybody that was there did a wonderful job. They,
Absolutely.
without their effort and without all the ladies that were involved, we would have never gotten this accomplished.
Absolutely, it was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely
It was
wonderful
wonderful.
day of service. So exactly what
But
it was meant.
again,
was
thank
meant
you,
to be.
thank you to the manager, and I did send her an email, and
Yes.
I just wanted to do that publicly because I have been fighting this battle for 2015, so 6 years now.
Thank
So
you very
thank you
much,
for the
Ms.
hope.
Garcia.
I just want to say thank you, Ms. Garcia, also for saying that. You know, I often I talk to residents every day, but it's nice to hear some kind words. And I did get your email earlier
perfect.
today and was happy to see good news. So progress is good. It
Progress
means
is
a lot
being
when you
made.
see that your efforts are paying off. So thank you.
Yes, progress is being made. I appreciate it. And I like to make sure that everyone knows when they're doing a good job, even when I bitch about someone doing a bad job. I like to make sure I balance it out. Everybody needs to know the good and the bad.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. We really appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for your
Have a good
time.
night. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. All right, you guys. Anybody else from the audience? You guys good? Yes, come on up. Come on up. Former Councilperson Dreyer, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Just say your name and address for the record, and the floor is yours.
My name is Werner Dreyer, 486 Northeast 87th Street. So it's great to hear. There's been a lot of catching up doing for the village, new people coming in, coming out. I've been here attending on a frequent basis. One thing I keep bringing up is on the potholes. I know there's been an initial effort already. I heard Joe Geller did mention about it. Wasn't sure on the manager's report where we're at, but I would appreciate the council looking into the potholes. I did see still the pothole on 86th Street that during that meeting we had Kristen, I think she reported it. So I will ask the council to see how we can continue moving forward with that. We want to make sure our village looks nice. I know we're cleaning our internal stuff right in the village, but as a resident, we want to make sure we're looking nice for ourselves and our folks that come visit us.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Councilperson Dreyer. I don't want to step on the toes of Councilperson Perella or Manager Lou, but I already do have the potholes as an agenda item for the next meeting. I already have that agenda halfway done. So, because we do expect, and I'm going to let the manager jump in, but we do expect to have some type of resolution within the next 4 weeks, by next meeting. And so let me have Manager Lou, and then Councilperson.
Well, thank you.
Because she had her hand up first.
As we have addressed the change in the priorities list, we had to get more quotes, and unfortunately, we had to get 3 of them. And so some people are responsive and most are not. So we've gotten 2, and we're still awaiting 1 more to finally address those potholes. We're ready to go, and I know we discussed this at our last Public Works meeting, how much money we have to utilize for this. We just need to get that last quote. And that's just a part of our procurement, that we must have 3 quotes for work this size.
Chairperson
It's
Perella,
coming.
is the Public Works Chairperson Perella?
Yeah, well, no, just to follow, but, continue with Mrs. Lou had just said, yes, the priority list had changed. So, because I actually went around with the Public Works staffer and, to make sure that we had, the right, a list of and priorities for the potholes and what's, needs to be addressed. So that's why we we needed to hold on a little bit more. I had been in contact with the manager asking for those reassessment of and like I said, I had to actually get the phone myself and call some of these people to try to get them back into the village to to give us a new quote. And, but that's something that's, now that we know that we have some money to do the repairs, they'll be done. On the list, unfortunately, that been, discussed for so many months before I even came on board, these potholes on 86 streets weren't on that list, part of that list. So I was surprised that they weren't, because I don't even, live in the west side, and, I noticed that they were really, really bad from years ago. And as I, drove around and showed the public works staffer, which is the one that's actually guiding or being in charge of showing the vendors, where the streets needs to be repaired, along with the village manager. So that's where we're at right now. So hopefully we get the third vendor to respond to the new list. And Mr. Lou, we already spoke about it yesterday, actually, and it's my priority, and it's going to be hopefully addressed pretty soon.
Great. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for looking into it. So if I understood correctly, in the next council meeting, you'll have a resolution to approve of whatever vendor you guys have selected?
As long as the vendors come in, I have it as an agenda item already on there. So as long as, I'm not the chair of Public Works, that's Chairperson Perella, and he works, with Manager Alou to get that part done. I can't overstep that, he's the chairperson. But if that information is done by next, I already have it on the agenda that I'm already done, halfway done with February's agenda. I already have it on the agenda, it's already an agenda item, so.
I look forward to it.
All right.
I'll stop by. And thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Councilperson Drea. You good? Vice Mayor Irvine?
I've got one good and welfare.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me go
Well,
ahead.
let me get to,
Yeah.
all right, so anybody else about anything that was mentioned in any of the reports, the manager, the mayor, or Attorney Geller's report? Everybody good? We good? Zoom, we're good? All right, we're good on Zoom. Next is unfinished business and general orders. No unfinished business, seeing none. Next is new business. Anybody want to bring up anything new? Anything new coming to the mind, popping the head? No, we're good. Next is good and welfare. Vice Mayor Irvine, go ahead.
I just wanted to make an announcement. I'm 99.9% I'm correct in saying this. March 9th, I believe, for Manager Lou, you might have information on this, but beginning March 9th, they're going to be fixing the FEC Railroad is going to be fixing the gate over here on 87th Street. Now, seeing all the activity they have all up and down the tracks, what I don't have is any notice on if any of the other intersections are being affected either at the same time or around the same time. But certainly residents should be aware that March 9th, which is a day for committee meetings, there will be major disruption because this intersection at 87th at the railroad track will be closed for repairs. So that's why all the FEC workers are present, because of the additional rail traffic. They say that the signals have declined to the point of needing immediate repair. So I saw a notice that March 9th, that's going to begin right here on 87th Street.
Yeah, we got that email, you guys, from the village manager. The Chief Magnuson wrote back, he responded to that email with a great point, or a great suggestion. He said maybe what we should do is we should block off traffic, like right around, like at the circle, at the rotunda. He said because you will allow, if you come up, Chief, come on up. He was saying something about you will allow residents to be able to. He doesn't want all the traffic to just end up coming there and getting stuck. So he made a great suggestion, which made a lot of sense when he made it. He'll come up and explain it right now, to where we should just consider maybe stopping traffic beforehand and sending those cars that
Okay,
are
and-
coming
And
in.
then as we discussed that, Chief, maybe you might know, but I'll certainly look into it, but just to know if there's any other intersections being affected at the same time.
The word we got was it's gonna take a couple of days.
Right.
And they're gonna leave 79th Street and 96th open. So my initial thinking was, you keep the traffic from coming off Second Avenue going eastbound, because they're only gonna get lost and it's gonna get congested. If you have a citizen that lives there that's coming around, they know how to come around 88th and come back west to get to their house. Remember, you're not gonna have anything coming westbound, because it's gonna get stopped off the boulevard. So that won't be the problem. My concern is people coming off during rush hour, going east on Second, and then getting all tangled up here. And then going all through the neighborhoods and getting lost, what have you. If we can block it off on Second Avenue, you know, they can keep going, but we would just guide them down and keep going to 96, tell them to go to 96 or something, or have an early warning sign, tell them to go to 96 if they're going northbound, rather than coming down eastbound on 87th Street. I mean, once you get down eastbound on 87th Street, and you're in the middle near the circle, it's too late.
Right.
That's just my initial thought. I mean,
And the other thing is, if they don't know why that's closed at that time, they will just cut right on 88th, 89th, 90th, and then they will, as they always do when traffic backs up in these situations, they will then lead-foot it through. They'll do rolling stops at, 15, 17 miles an hour, and then they'll accelerate. It always happens whenever people are diverted. You get frustrated, confused, and they're all speeding. So just take that into consideration.
well, my understanding is the rail police are gonna be on some of these stops. Maybe not right on 87th Street. I'll have to find out on that. But certainly, if we block off the road, if we have an early warning sign, tell them only access across the tracks is on 95th. They're not going to cut across 94th. They'll know where to go and then get across the tracks. Going southbound too, I guess there would be another sign, cut across the tracks on 79th. You can't get across. We're gonna go social media intensive. I just thought it was too early right now. By that time, they'll forget about it. We'll go intensive maybe 2 weeks out and pick it up 10 days out and get it that way. But that was just an initial thought. I mean, there's enough time to throw those out there and then fine tune a plan, so.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion because we don't want to get, the traffic all backed up like that
Right.
day, so. Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Anything else, Vice Mayor Urban? You good? Madam Manager, you good?
No, this is my days are so filled with information, and this was just a couple of days ago that I alerted you all to this. And I got that information from another village manager who said, hey, FYI, this is on your street. So I did reach out to Florida Rail, and they explained the situation, said that they would provide police, and they would do the detouring. And I asked them if they were going to let the community know. They said that they would appreciate our assistance, but also that we let the school know, because the school bus would be an issue as well. So, because they don't alert people at that level, but we certainly should reach out to Dr. Thompson at Horace Mann as well, and just let our community know. And so, like Chief Magnuson said, let's do a big push, but closer toward that time, because we want to keep it fresh in people's minds. And it's only for, no more than 4 days, but I was told it shouldn't be more than 2. We'll see, but we'll have a nicer, safer intersection once it's over, and it's at no expense to the village.
That'd be perfect. Thank you very much. Anybody else for anything? Councilman Perella, you good? All right. Anybody else? Any hands? Zoom? How are we looking on Zoom? We're good? Thumbs up from people over there, full moon. All right, you guys. So moving along, you guys, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn made by Councilperson Perella. May I have a second?
I will second the motion to adjourn.
Second the motion to adjourn is Vice Mayor Urban. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no nays. The regular council meeting for Tuesday, January 26th is adjourned at 9:58 p.m. Thank you very much, you guys. And that's with the proclamations and everything. We're moving, you.